Three, two, one. Good evening, internet. Good evening. The time is 8:31 on October 26th, 2022. My name is Chris Kennard. Welcome to 10 for 10, a KVO presentation. KVO stands for Chris and V, and then operation, I guess, whatever O word you want to
Oh,
use.
cool. Very
I'm like,
cool.
I thought maybe I'll make a combination of our names, but I'm like, that's too much work. I'll just put KVO. It's fine. They'll
Yeah,
Operation
that sounds good
outstanding,
to
because then
me.
it's like, oh, on one hand it could be like, oh, it's a Chris V outstanding presentation, because then that's cool too, I
Yeah,
guess. But we're
yeah.
here, it's happening. This is our third time being online together for the world to see.
Oh, for real?
Yes, we've talked about you and your work previously, like in the past, and that was fun. And now we're gonna do something else. And
Hmm.
my number one fan, Arkintel, is here too.
Hi.
Good evening, sir. For those who may not be aware of who you are and what you do, what's your deal? Like, who is V? What is Subtle Smile?
So it like I'm not gonna lie, it's weird every time I have to explain myself, but I know I have to do it.
You need
It's
that
like I'm
elevator
still
pitch, yo.
getting used to it. Yeah. But I am an artist and a musician in the DMV area from the States. Subtle Smile is my company slash record label. I sell all of my art and fashion and music through it. So that's what I
A
do.
quick reminder to the audience that today, all the way through Halloween, you can go on the site and get stuff on sale.
Yes,
Anything
everything is on a ridiculous sale. Everything is on a ridiculous sale,
stuff possibly up
including
to
my
50%.
yes, including my Etsy shop that I just kind of started for fun. If you like crystals and healing, it's kind of like little trinkets for you there. From probably the best crystal shop that I've ever shopped at in my life. Like I didn't
Shout them out.
even
Shout them out.
trust. Yeah, is Good Luck shop in Montgomery Mall in Bethesda, and they're actually going to close in March. So,
It was hot.
their physical shop is closing.
Okay, they're
So,
gonna go digital.
yep. So every time you actually get a crystal art, like from my Etsy shop from me, and you get the crystal with it, I actually give you their information where you can shop online for quality things. So,
Wonderful. One hand
yeah.
washes the other.
Yes.
Okay, so V, 12 years ago, what were you doing?
Oh God. I
We
was,
grew up, man. Isn't that crazy?
I know, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I was finishing my sophomore semester in college and I went to Japan for the first time to live and study in Tokyo.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, in the past when we'd ever so often reach out to one another, it was my understanding you finished your degree over there, or you just were going there to live and work.
Oh, so I finished my classes there for that school and then I came back and finished my degree at UMBC.
That's so cool. Okay.
Thank you.
So you were there for like a semester almost.
Yeah, I was there for a semester and then the big earthquake happened in 2011.
Wow. Oh my
And
God, that's right. I think I was in college when that happened.
yeah, so
Oof.
then I was there for that and my family was extremely uncomfortable me staying any longer than I had to.
I
So
see.
they dragged me home.
I see.
Um I think it was just certain parts. I'm not gonna downplay it. It was a horrendous, horrific event to happen to Japan. It's just where I was, and I guess the foreign media thought Japan equaled Tokyo at the time. So all
A
of the
generalization.
yeah, so all of the news was, well, in Tokyo it's like this and this and this and this is, and I'm just like, well, Tokyo isn't that way because it happened up north. So the
I
damage is
see.
up
I
north. So
see.
where I am is safe. We just have a bunch of earthquakes now because
I
of all the
see.
aftershocks.
Right.
They didn't believe me. They believed the media instead. So they dragged me home. And then after I graduated college, I went back to complete this course to complete the courses. And
Okay.
then I came back and kind of applied to jobs here and there. And I ended up getting a job there. And then that's why I lived there for so long. So
Very cool. Very, very cool.
it was intense, man. My 20s were crazy.
Yeah. And so like in 2010 myself, I was a senior in high school, and
Hmm.
I attended the prestigious Gaithersburg High School. And at that time, would you mind telling me about like how you went about like listening to music and like purchasing music and like just taking it in when you're over there in the East?
It wasn't too hard. Um, Also, I've like, if I'm like talking quieter, let me know. I didn't realize I'm actually wearing my studio headphones, so they're noise
I can hear you loud and
canceling.
clear.
Oh, okay. If I'm too loud, please let me know because I can't tell
Of
my
course.
volume. Um, but I've been a fan of Japanese music since I was a kid. I think when I was a kid and like, through anime and stuff, I always loved the songs that they had there. And so I grew up in a very musical family. And then when I grew up, everybody was doing something. Like my mom was great at singing, so my dad would always play the keyboard and kind of record, and they'd like hold a little concert together. My brother
That is
learned
so sweet.
yeah, my brother learned the violin at the time, so
Wow.
we'd always go to his concerts, and apparently like I have like vague memory of it, but I'm really little compared to my brother, so
Okay.
I would always go to their concerts and like my parents would sit on the balcony for a specific reason because it's like there'd be the audience up front and then there's like a small balcony, and he went to Watkins Mill High, so then
Okay.
my parents would always sit up there because I would always want to dance to his
Aww.
music. So I would go down and I would dance like I don't know how to dance. Let me just put that out there. But I'm like this like 5-year-old kid just dancing crazy, and then like all the parents in the balconies are watching me and watching their kid at the same time. I have like vague memory, but then I I guess like after one of the concerts, my parents and I went to go say hi to the teacher. And my dad thought music was always important, so he always wanted her feedback. And then she's like, no,
Mm.
she's doing good. And he's like, oh yeah, this is my sister. And she's like, oh yeah, I could see you dancing up there. And I was like,
Aww.
and I felt so embarrassed. I thought nobody was watching me because I thought everyone was watching that. And it's funny because when I go to concerts now, I still act the same way. I just don't care if people notice me or
Of
not.
course.
But I just found it to be so interesting. Like I loved growing up in such a musical family, but I digress. Because of that, anytime I watched a show or watched anything, um, I would always pay attention to the music. It didn't have to be the beginning theme and the ending theme only. I'd listen to the background music and listen to like the violins, how they sounded, and this and that. I was just always so interested in it. So when I watched anime, it was the same thing. And then I it wasn't until I watched my first anime in Japanese, which technically would have been Dragon Ball Z, but I wasn't interested at the age that my brother and my cousin were watching it. So, but when I was like really seriously watching it, it was Card Captor Sakura.
Oh, that
Yeah,
show went
it was
hard.
so good. And then I saw that was my first Japanese show that I saw.
Okay.
And I was so interested in the way Japanese sounded musically and just the way it sounded to me. It just sounded like a beautiful language. I've just been a fan for a long time. So I actually knew how to purchase certain things before I moved to Japan because it was so
Okay.
hard for foreigners to get it.
Yes, it's my biggest
It's my
complaint
biggest
about getting into J
issue.
media.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hate Japanese media for that reason. Like everyone's like, "Oh, like do you still listen to Japanese?" I was like, "Yeah, when I can. If they let me buy shit, like I'll buy shit." Like one time I actually ordered something and it allowed me to order, so I actually didn't read the site.
Oh, the
And
fine
then
print.
yeah, and then they emailed back saying, "Hey, since you ordered, we'll send it to you, but we actually don't have a shipping created for
Oh,
foreign
crud for
people."
Western fans.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
just like, "Why did your thing go through?"
why'd you take my money?
And then I was like, "Look, I can cancel it. I'm okay with that." And they're like, "No, no, no, we'll send it to you."
Well, that's kind at least.
Yeah, I'm not, that's kind, but it's like, you have but this company knows they have global fans. So it's kind of like, why at this day and age, why
And
is
that
it
was
so
recently
difficult? Yeah, it was like last year or 2 years ago.
during the pandemic. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. And this wasn't like it wasn't like some like small
No, it wasn't
homegrown
like
brand.
yeah, it wasn't like a COVID thing or anything. I'm just like, but I mean, they're really small label, but it's not like but with like current technology and the way things were moving, it is not difficult to do that now. Like, you have to go out of your way to do that now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe they didn't have means back then, but like even bands that I like now and I want to support now, like a lot of visual K bands still have that rule. I can't order anything. And I'm like, but you guys have global tours and I can't order anything?
Math ain't mathin'.
But you give us the shipping price. If we're willing to pay the shipping, then you can send it. We don't care. A lot of us don't care. We're old enough to be able to afford those
They'll eat the
things.
cost. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, it's my biggest complaint, big ass complaint. But
Yeah.
because of that, I actually did a lot of research before I went to Japan. So what I did was I think I had Apple Music at the time, which everyone just started
Ooh,
streaming at
iTunes.
the
Yes,
time.
sir.
So, oh yeah, iTunes. So then, not Apple Music. That's right. I had iTunes, and so I just buy everything off of there. But I knew which shops to go to, and I generally bought CDs. Like, I came home with so many CDs. My suitcase was so heavy. I thought my
That's
CDs would crack.
amazing.
Like I had my friend who is like a pro packer. She was like my neighbor, and she came in and she layered my clothes and my CDs and my clothes and my CDs in a way that it wouldn't break. And when I came home, with as much shaking as that plane did, everything was intact.
Oh, shout out to our neighbor,
I
yo.
know. I love her so much. I wonder how she's doing, but she saved my stuff.
Oh, you remind me of this one TikTok I saw recently of this kid and her mom, and it was almost like the kid was kind of making fun of her mom for having all these CDs.
Oh yeah.
And the mom was like, I'm keeping the CDs, just like going ham about like keeping like her stuff. And her
Yeah.
kid's like, you can stream all of this. And she's like, that's great. But what if I just want to listen to this album today? And she
Yeah,
picks it up and she's like,
exactly.
oh, here it is. And I have a bunch of CDs right now that I kept from a previous relationship, and
Yeah.
I don't have like the cases to put them in. But now
Oh,
I could if I just like manned up and like purchase like a the big like booklet to put them in, I could. So
yeah.
like but like because of like the convenience of streaming, I've kind of like forgot where I came from because I
Yeah.
too like around like the 2006 to 2010 scale, I was very much like, yo, you can get songs on the internet for free. And like started my iTunes account. I was downloading the song of the week every single week without fail.
Yeah.
I specifically remember when Owl City dropped Fireflies. It was free on iTunes. And I'm like,
Wait, who dropped
man,
what?
Owl City. Remember
Oh
Fireflies?
yeah.
And
Owl
so I
City
heard
actually played at UMBC.
I'm not surprised whatsoever. He has a lot of
Yeah.
music now these days. But
Yeah.
that song comes out and I'm like, man, this is terrible. And so I don't keep it on my iPod. And then I don't remember when, but it's on the radio and I'm like, it's a song I got for free. I
Yeah.
missed the boat. I'm trash. And so just that whole experience of like, oh, like we'll give you this song for free. You can download it. Just not even on like some LimeWire type shit. It's like, oh, like we want you to hear this song so bad you don't have to pay anything for it. And I was always
Yeah.
broke. Even when
Yeah.
when I had CDs to purchase during high school, it's like this is like my one CD for the
Yeah.
year. So you better freaking make sure you want to get it. You know what I mean? And so, and
Yeah.
knowing how, and I think I have this like preconceived notion of how over in the East in Japan, like you can go to the spot, go to the record store,
Mhm.
buy your CDs
Mhm.
and not have difficulty like getting your hands on a CD player. Like I'm gonna buy a laptop over there, the disc drive is
Oh,
intact. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
just like it's yes, like yes, streaming is like the prevailing thing here in the West,
Yeah.
but it's like it feels that over in Japan, it's like, oh, like pick your poison, vinyl, CD, streaming, like there are
Oh,
options for you, and like you're not no one's gonna give you a hard time about it because like
yeah.
it's still like a necessary thing to have right now. Like
Yeah.
I got a DVD for my job. Like I won like a copy of Elizabethtown for my job, but I
Huh.
don't have a functioning DVD player because
Ugh.
it's just like considered outdated. But it's like I can
Yeah.
go to a secondhand shop and get one now.
Yeah.
Like my housemate was like, "You can get this for like less than $10, dude. What are you fussing about?" Like I was
Yeah.
contemplating going on Amazon and getting like this DVD player, but it's like
Yeah.
he was like, "Why would you bother doing that? Just like go down to Affiliates Thrift and dig around. You'll find
Yeah.
something for like a reasonable price because people preserve this thing. It's still significant.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
bands right now in like the current industry pressing cassettes because people want to collect that stuff. They want to get back what they had when they were younger and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's
No,
it's a
I
whole
mean,
lot of
but it's not like it's weird. I think the spots that you find in Tokyo specifically, or like any of the cities, I can't really say it's the same for all of Japan. In some parts of Japan, you might be right. The technology might be a little lower, but it's not. But it's not that they don't have access. I think it's
certainly
more what
not.
they choose to have,
It's
and
still significant and
and
important to the
well, it's
culture.
also
And I
like
love that.
the general population of Japan is a lot older. So when you go and you go to certain parts, it's just really like an older population. They might like have a television, whatever they only care about, and then like a cassette player and whatever. And my but it's not like it's not with the times. A lot of people prefer streaming over anything, but they still sell CDs like out in the open. Like, just a few years ago we could go to Best Buy and they had a whole CD section, but you
Yeah,
can't even go to like a normal, like a not a normal but like a regular common store in the US
like a
anymore and
Barnes
find
and
that.
Noble. Like they
Yeah,
like
they like if like it, but even Barnes and Nobles is one of the better ones because they have a whole section for vinyl and CDs, and
oh,
at
you
least
also
this
you
one
also have
does.
one. Okay, we
Yeah.
the one near me here in Philly got rid of theirs.
Oh, well, they didn't
and
for us
and and I
yet.
can go to like the local record store like down the street anyway. But it's like like if I'm looking for something specifically modern, I'm thinking
Yeah.
okay, maybe they'll have like the most recent like stuff because
Mhm.
um my co-host on one of my other podcasts like he wanted
Mhm.
a Miles Davis record, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
bet you I'll find it in Barnes and Noble. Like there's no question it'll be there. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh surprise, no music section. And like
Yeah.
I went to the record store, they had it on vinyl. He doesn't have a record player, so I had to like give Bezos $10 to send it to his crib. And like I wanted him to have the record, so it's fine. But it's just like, dad gum, like
Yeah. I mean, but so like, I mean, obviously I'm music crazy. I have all of the outlets that I can have for music. We're also technology, like not technology, but we're very video game crazy, and Vishwas is movie crazy. So we have the DVD players and the VCR players and the
yes.
Blu-ray and all that. And it's like, it I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like you're right in a sense, but there are specific things that I feel like you have to find in like a niche area. Like vinyl is still hard to find. It's kind of like
Over
when
in
you
the
find,
East.
yeah, like when you like shop kind of like in like an artsy part of town, or if you like go to like a specific record store, like they'll have the same thing in Japan. It's not just out. I mean, it might be out in the open, like recent stuff, like, now recent artists are starting to do vinyl again. And let's so like,
Sure.
maybe they're starting to do that again. But it's not like I wouldn't say that I think CDs are very prominent though. They are very
Okay,
prominent
they're the
because,
ruling format.
well, yeah, because
Amazing.
I think maybe streaming is probably the thing is the thing is with musicians in Japan, it's not just buying the CD. It's why in America CDs are so cheap because they really just come with the track list and the CD, right?
Booklet.
But it's kind of like, oh, yeah, some of them have booklets. I've bought stuff that don't even have booklets in the US. And it's like, but the CD that they make in Japan is an art. You get a thick booklet with it, but it has all of the lyrics, it has all of the tracks, but it
Need
also has
that.
photographs, like artistic photographs of the band or something like that. And the way they produce it, and the CD isn't just, the title or whatever. It's like, I always describe it this way. Every Japanese CD I've bought is a lot heavier than an American CD.
No wonder they didn't break on the way home.
Yeah. And it's like, because you get so much stuff with it. Not only that, if you're a big fan, the only way you can meet the band is to buy the CD. The only way you can get the special gift is if you buy the CD and have the voucher
Mm.
to get a chance for the special gift. And so, like, they play around that. They play around buying the CD. Hey, thank you for buying this CD. If you buy this, there's a free poster inside. Oh, by the way, if you have this image in the poster, you win an extra thing. So
Oh,
email
that's
us or
fun.
send in
Very
a
fun.
voucher or something. And like, they play around that. Like, getting a CD in Japan is not just that product generally.
We get a whole experience. Love
Yeah.
that.
And so that's why I'm always like, it's worth the money that I spend in Japan. And
For
sometimes
the
like
shipping and all that.
I'll only buy a CD in the US if it's like on sale. Like when FYE was cleaning out of the mall. Like I
Oh
just went
my
and raided it.
gosh.
I got the Prince vinyl. It was like a Prince. It was like acoustic and piano. So this was like unreleased practicing
Okay.
tracks that he did in
Was
the
it the
back.
one? Was it the one where
Like
like he
black
like
and
had
white.
no shirt on with the piano and like
Yeah,
black
yeah,
and
yeah,
white?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the one I have. Oh my
I only
god.
know about that because of Loop Daddy Mark Rebier, who was like, oh, I'm listening to this stuff recently, and
It's
like
so good.
I listened to one of the
It
songs
is
then in
amazing.
2018. I'm like, this is cool. Like, there's so much stuff that like
You
Homeboy's
don't
got going
really have
on.
an artist. And yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You first.
No, I was just gonna say you don't really have an artist like Prince anymore.
Steve Lacy is trying to become the new one, but like it's not going so well.
Oh no.
He has the aesthetic. He has the aesthetic down, but
Mm-hmm.
like I feel that I I'm not even going to get into it because there's so many details. There's a lot to unpack about Steve, and like all I can say about that is
You gotta
go
tell
listen to
me
the internet, y'all.
afterwards. Oh,
Go
okay.
for those who like don't know who Steve Lacy is. First of all, listen to every album by the internet. That's first stop. Then you can go listen to Bad Habit or whatever the heck. But like, that is neither here nor there. I want to go back to what you said earlier about an experience, curating an experience. That's what we've done here today, you and
Yeah.
I. Um, I've been doing this series with Living Abstraction about just like picking like a certain number of songs based on the year, and I knew we wanted to work on something together. We
Yeah.
because like you have the sale going on, but it's like cool, like it's a sale. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and you don't
Guys,
have
it's a big sale. Help a girl out.
please buy something. Please share the link to your friends. V is on Twitter. Retweet, like, post.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
like
no, for sure.
get Mr. Algorithm like on V's side here. Okay, come on. But you know, like wait, so
What?
you know exactly what I mean, living abstraction. Like there's a lot to unpack about that, homeboy. But in regards to like what we're doing here today, it's like
Mhm.
what's something that we like share at least, you know, and like oh like a decade ago, like we were around doing what we do doing what we're doing right now 12 years ago, and
Yeah.
it was different then, but like the
Yeah.
love for the music was still there, and like in a lot
Yeah.
of ways my taste was changing every week because of all the cool stuff I was finding.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for like the songs you've given us because this is stuff I never would have heard on my own. I maybe
Oh
know one of
wow.
the artists on this list just because of just like me looking around, just like trying to
Yeah.
take in influences. But everybody else, it was my first time hearing these acts. Before we go any
Hmm.
further, I would love to tell the audience what songs we have on the ballot for them today.
Sure.
So our 10 for 10 include, but are not limited to, Vampire Weekend with Cousins, Take It In by Hot Chip, On Melancholy Hill by Gorillaz, Fooled by the Night by Minus the Bear, G by Girls' Generation, 13 by Despair's Ray. Now, before I say anything further, when I was building the YouTube version of this list, I appreciate that for the song by Calafina had the romanticized version of the characters, because I'm like, I'm not going to attempt to mispronounce none of this because I'll be ashamed of myself.
It's
So
okay. I'm not gonna lie. There's only one. There's a word in this song that I've never heard outside of this song,
oh my god.
and so
Language is pretty cool in that way, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. But this song is "Kagayaku Sora no Shijima ni wa."
That's not so bad, I guess, when I hear you say it.
But it's like, well, I mean, because I said it's super slow, like that Shijima word. I've
Mm.
never heard that word outside of this song.
How many variations of, of Japanese is there out there in the world? Like 10 or something?
I mean, like if it's like dialect and stuff, yeah, maybe more than that. but it's just
I imagine like I imagine some words and some phrases are like regional and
Oh,
stuff like
look at
that.
this. It's not even the first character to come up. I want to say it means something like let me just oh my gosh. I tried to like Google
So
translate
you
it. It
don't know,
didn't
V
even
used
work
to
out.
teach
Let me
English when
read
she
it.
lived in Japan.
So, I used to also be an interpreter and this word never came up, okay?
Oh my god.
But I think so the first kanji means to be quiet. So I wonder
Mm.
if it means like silence. So it's like um uh,
I pulled the dictionary for this one, y'all.
well, I mean, I wanted to look up shit like shit. Oh, I looked up the wrong word. The word I knew.
Oh my god.
It doesn't matter. So I want to say it means something like
CG Maniwa.
yeah. So I want to say it means something like the shining, in the shining skies, silence, or something like that.
In the
Is
silence of the shining skies.
the silence of the shining skies something like oh no because
Sick.
it's
I'm not gonna lie to
because
you.
it's in it's in the sky.
Oh my god.
So it's in the shining sky of silence, something like that.
That sounds kind of hard. I ain't gonna hold you. So there, in the shining
That's
sky of silence.
yeah, in the shining sky of silence. I'm going with that. I'm going with that.
Final answer, Alex. So in the shining sky of silence by
Not to mention,
Calafina.
I just want to point out that
What's that?
I haven't actually interpreted or translated in like 5 years.
Still got it. Look at you. Still
Yes,
got it. Still
I hope
sharp as a
I know.
dang sword.
If you ever find the translation for that, you gotta let me know afterwards if
I'll
I
put
was
in the
right.
dang doobly doo in the comments.
Right.
After that, we have Bird by Yuya Matsushita. Did
Yep.
I say his name right? Oh my god.
Yep.
We have Frisia by Mook and More Deep by Born.
Yep.
We have our cast. Do you want to like do one of my songs, one of yours, or like 5 and 5? How are you feeling?
So we could do either one. I thought you would go first and then I would go.
There
But
you go.
either way
Okay.
works with me. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
You go.
I'll start, but
Yes.
you have to pick the one you like the most.
Oh. Oh, you're kidding me. And you're killing me. Um I really like On Melancholy Hill.
A lot
But
of people do to this day. Yeah.
yeah, I've liked it for a long time. I think it's just I want to go with Fooled by the Night because that's my first time hearing that song.
Let's freaking go. Let's
So
go.
I really loved it. I felt like because I knew On Melancholy Hill, I know Gorillaz, I know Vampire Weekend. But out of the two new songs, which was by Hot Chip and Minus the Bear, I thought Fooled by the Night was it like left an impact. So I want to start with that. And I want to
Let's
know what you
go.
think because I'm a newbie, right? Like
Okay.
didn't know the song.
Okay, so I'm gonna snitch on myself.
Okay.
I didn't hear this album through 2011, if I'm being completely honest with
Oh,
you. But
gotcha.
like
That's okay.
it came out the year prior. This is I don't remember which album of theirs it is. I do, but like I forget it's like Minus the Bear broke up. They're not a band anymore. And
Okay.
I'm sad that I never got to see them play before they broke up. But when I was in the Broadcasting Institute of Maryland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was my roommate at the time had a really nice TV,
Yeah.
and our landlady had MTV, so we got MTVU, and so
Uh-huh.
I was watching music videos every freaking day that I could. And I saw the music video for "My Time," which is from that album. It's the lead single, it's the first song on the album, Omni.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a song about sex, but like it's kind of like dorky. Like
Yeah.
the band members are like the various colors on the album: blue, yellow, red, green, orange, and like there are these dancers doing like this like interpretive like hip hop, and like they're playing their instruments, but it's like they're older guys, and so like they're you just
Yeah.
and like this was the album that was on Danger Bird Records, which is like the label primarily famous with breaking Silver Sun pickups, the folks who did Panic Switch and Lazy Eye and stuff like that. And so like they were doing like the math rock thing. They have like at this point there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 releases prior to Omni, and like
Wow.
they were breaking new ground. And I think what made me want to check the it really is. What brought me to this band was that I got a free like I got a bunch of free songs from the Warp Tour, right?
Yeah.
And so like it was like a zip file with a bunch of cool songs from bands I did not know. And there was the song Into the Mirror that was on like the little release that I got. And I didn't think much of the
Yeah.
song at the time, but like, oh, Minus the Bear, I'm just like keep that in my brain for later. Maybe they'll come up. And so you see the video for My Time, and I'm like, oh, Minus the Bear, I've heard their song before. And I
Yeah.
got Omni at the local library. I got a ton of CDs from the local library when I was going to broadcasting school. And
Yeah.
so I listened to that album, and just like there aren't a lot of bands that like, at least for me at the time, that really like utilize their keyboard player, you know?
Yeah.
And so like you hear like the indie vocals, you hear the guitars, drums, bass, but like
Mhm.
it's just like the electronics, like the keys, the little plinkety plinks. That's really
Yeah.
just like tying the songs together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just like it's the sparkly bits on like the and so
No, I feel the same way. I
yeah,
really
you know
like.
what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
and so like you have this song, it's like a person just mourning like a relationship that didn't like last, and just like recalling, oh, like this is how we met. We would go to like we ran into each other at this bar. They came back to
Yeah.
my place. I put the right records on, like I
Yeah.
made the right moves, and like but still afterwards, like I still feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Like, but little do I know, the person I brought home is like starting to feel feelings for me, and just
Yeah.
like it's I feel some type of way about two things with an album: the opening cut and the last song. And if the last song is just like this sweeping grand thing, like, oh, I'm yours for life. And so usually when I introduce this band to people, it's from songs from this, like Dayglow Vista Road,
Oh,
Summer
cool.
Angel, Hold Me Down. Like it's it's yeah, like it's one of the few like bands in like this that indie hipster math rock space that I'm especially just like possessive of, you know, especially a band that like is no longer together and was successful because they released a lot of music. If you go if you go to their like page on Spotify, lots of
Mhm.
music over like the years they were together. But just
Cool.
like I still feel as if like
I'll look 'em up.
there is like I still didn't think they got their day in the sun, you know? Like I feel
Yeah.
like the record Hold Me Down could have been on mainstream radio, but like it seems that for like the last 20 or so years, program directors and DJs don't get the chance to like really just like step out of line with just like recommending things. Like a lot of the songs you played, I know at least three of the songs you recommended could have like had a space on American radio if they weren't like, oh, it's not in English. I don't understand what's happening here.
Which
And
is
so
so
like,
funny because they seem to bend the rules for K-pop a lot, and I
but
wanna
only
know.
recently, but only recently. I
It's
because
true. No,
the
I will
one
give
even
you
like
that. I will
the
give
one
you that.
K-pop song that I have here, there was no way you were going to hear G on top 40. You could have, but like
If they
it
were able
wasn't the
to
right
let, yeah,
time. But
time.
let me not get ahead of
Yeah.
myself. So yeah, Fooled by the Night, Minus the Bear on Omni, 7 minutes. It's not like it's not because you know how sometimes you have a long song, it feels
Yeah.
like work. Like
Yes.
I can't like
Yes.
there's
When
a
I so I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the time, I was like, this guy must think I'm crazy. But luckily, like at the time, well, when I first heard it, so I actually went back to hear it multiple times. So
oh
I
wow.
you had something to say. But I was like, okay, well, he gave me music, and so while I'm doing my own work, obviously I was the art side, not the music side, but while I was working on a piece that I have that I'm currently working on, um I heard the songs, and I felt like this song didn't it's just written so well. Like it's not necessarily, it doesn't even start off as anything that you might expect in a song. So
Some
when it
keys, bruh.
actually came on, I put my pen down and I listened for the whole 7 minutes and 22 seconds. And then freaking G came up and it ruined my mood. So I
I'm
shut it
so
off.
sorry.
I
I'm
was
so
just
sorry for taking you out of that space. I maybe should. Maybe now I'll think. Maybe now for listeners who may like go to the playlist, I think I'll switch them around and see if it makes a difference.
well, no, I mean, I thought it was fine the way it was. I think you should leave it the way
Okay,
it is. But it's just, my opinion. So and like it wouldn't have changed no matter where it was on the thing. But
fair enough.
it's just it it was so compelling, And then I looked up the lyrics and I thought that even the lyrics were compelling. But as you're reading the lyrics to the song, it's almost like that song is telling the same story as the lyrics. Like it's not always the case, right? Like sometimes you
Certainly
might hear
not.
an upbeat song and then they say something sad, but or vice versa, right?
Sure.
But in this case, it was almost like they painted their lyrics to be heard in music. And it's a very difficult thing to do well. And I think that's something I appreciated because I know somebody who listened to oh my god, I forgot the name of my own song. Sweet Poison.
The first release.
Yeah, and so one of your I can't remember if it was, I think it was your friend who like bought it just to like try it, and then he said like the production value was like super low. And I'm open about that. When I created my first few songs that are actually on Spotify right now, I didn't have the tools. I just and my computer couldn't handle the processing. So anytime I added an extra track, which is like an extra sound or an extra instrument or whatever, it would shut off. And so I'm very open about, the production value isn't great for my songs at the moment, the ones that are released rather. So when they're so I still want people to listen to my dinky music. Like I want people to know where I started before I, start sounding cool.
Our
But
blemishes.
yeah, but the thing about that song was I specifically made that song to sound like anxiety. And I feel like a lot of people so like actually my cousin's wife heard the song as well. And uh she said she really liked the song. And I still haven't yet to talk to her about it, but I kind of want to know why, because it was such low production. It was probably you think low production, right? And this was under that. Like this was the lowest production
Oh,
song
don't
that I
kid
had.
yourself too much about it.
And well, I mean, I'm okay with that though. Like I know other viewers like or other listeners, especially with the way technology runs nowadays, people like prettier sounding songs, right? Like they like things that
Eh,
are mastered to the T. And I
eh.
don't necessarily, but for me as a listener, I don't care for that. So
Okay.
me as a that comes in a lot into my production. Like if I can convey, so like I know I don't have the tools now, so if I can convey my message, that's my job. And ever since you interviewed me the first time, that's what I came out and said. I want to know if my message is being conveyed. And so the reason I appreciated this song so much was without the lyrics you can get the feeling. And that's exactly what I did with my song, which there aren't many of them out there. Like I can think of a lot of songs that talk about anxiety, right? But they don't necessarily,
Convey the actual feeling.
the music doesn't. Like if you didn't hear the lyrics, how would you feel?
Yeah, I, yeah,
And
I
that's how I created Sweet Poison. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm just like I'm thinking about how like I'm thinking about like when you said all that, and I'm thinking about how like how Fooled by the Night starts and how it finishes. It starts and
Yeah,
finishes the same way, and like I
yeah,
love how like after like everyone's done playing their instruments and singing, like you get a minute to just like sit back and think about what you heard, and
yeah,
then by the time you're like you feel like and by the time you feel like you know what you're thinking, it's gone, and then
yeah.
like I appreciate that like it doesn't stop abruptly. It just like just like I was
Yes,
like
yes.
like
Like
as like a
it's like a
passing rainstorm.
lingering emotion. Yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah,
I love it.
sometimes you gotta let it linger. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
I'm a big person that loves yearning, and so like there's a
Mhm.
yearningness to this song. It's like you're mourning what's been lost. You're like you're examining like the things around you. It's like
Yeah,
you hear wolves howling. You're like, oh, like I make my dinner here. Like I have a wood
yeah.
burning stove. Like it's like acknowledging like, oh, I'm thankful for the food it makes me.
Mhm,
Like remembering who that person was.
mhm.
Like what you do to try and like forget what was like. It's just like yeah, it's if if like a, if like if you like sad man rock Weepy White Men, like this is the record for you. This song
Yeah.
is gonna do something for you. It's one of the few albums that I sincerely feel is like it's up there. Maybe not a 10 out of 10, but definitely a 9, you know. So
Yeah.
like
Then I have to hear the
boom.
album. Yeah, I only heard the song, so now I'm curious. But it was definitely out of the two new ones on the list, that one it made me stop working. So
Had to take it all in. It's freaking awesome.
yeah, that's so
Let's
good.
I want to pick one of yours.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Um I'm gonna talk about the one that I think I like the most. And it was Bird for the Black Butler
Oh,
soundtrack.
really?
Yeah, I think I like the Bird
Damn.
the most because I was in the bathroom, like, you know, brushing my teeth and whatever, and I had
Yeah.
this on. I'm like humming like the melodies and stuff. Like, oh, this is like somebody say
Yeah.
at the karaoke. Like it's
Yeah.
I want to
I
thank you
karaoke
because
these songs so many times when I lived there. Such a good song.
hi Precious, thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
And so like I want to thank you V because
Mhm.
you brought ballads back for me.
Oh, yeah?
I don't listen to a lot of ballads. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say earlier this summer, one of my younger coworkers was like, "You gotta listen to more Mariah Carey. You gotta listen to more Brandy." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll document my journey on TikTok. It'll be
Yeah.
great." I got through one album and I stopped. I think I maybe covered maybe 2 songs. I listened to all of Butterfly, and then I
Mhm.
was gonna listen to Rainbow. I only got 2 songs in the Rainbow and I stopped.
Oh,
And
jeez.
if there's one thing Mariah Carey gonna do, she gonna sing a ballad. Okay,
Yeah.
she gonna sing ballad.
Yeah.
She gonna sing, and that's great. But like,
Yeah.
it's not really my bag per
Yeah.
se. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ballads.
I think late last year or in 2020, I
Mhm.
finally just sat down and listened to like I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston, and I'm like,
Mhm.
this song is insane. I hate that like big box stores will overplay Whitney's records because then I'm not gonna feel nothing when I listen to her work on my own because I can't listen to like I can't listen to I Want to Dance with Somebody
Yeah.
on in my own time. I've only enjoyed that song once, and it was when I
Oh.
went to a hardcore show to see Turnstile, and
Huh.
that was their walkout music. They just played that
Wow.
for like they played the whole song,
Damn.
and so everyone got hype. And so
Yeah.
like there's nothing like seeing like just like shirtless dudes like two step to like Whitney Houston, and then they cut the song for the last chorus, and everyone
Oh,
sang the
no.
chorus,
That's
and they came out and started their
crazy.
set. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
see, but that's the point, right?
Yeah,
Like
but, like,
you gotta save it for a special occasion. And so like
so
when you're bringing out the ballads,
yeah.
I
I
like I felt it, you know.
Yeah. Like, I just wanna say that that's exactly what I was about to say. It's because we grew up listening to those artists on the radio. So when we hear them, like, for me, like, if there's, like I wouldn't say that I grew up listening to Mariah Carey, like, very heavily. I probably listened to, like I wanna say, like, I listened to so much oldies, I believe, at the time that she was, like, popping on the radio, and I just, like, kinda missed my own opportunity. I like her now as an adult who, like, goes out, like, listens to everything. But what I was gonna say is that, like, sometimes, whenever you go into any store, they'll play whatever station or whatever this, and, like, generally it's the same station or
Usually
the
a
same
CD.
artist, and it's like, oh yeah, and it's like you go in and you're like, oh, I've heard this song before, or I've heard it. You don't even need to know. And generally, you can identify the artist. Someone at like Mariah Carey who has a very unique voice. You can like identify her and then just be like, oh, huh, another Mariah Carey song. And you kind of walk
Or the
away.
one you've heard 1,000 times.
Yeah. And it's like, well, now I've given you something that's not in English, that is completely new to you, right? I don't know if you've ever heard Bird before, but
No,
it,
never.
yeah, so that's why it's just kind of like you have to start going to
Fascinating.
raves. Oh my gosh, raves are great. Um, but it's kind of like you get used to a certain sound, which is what's sad. Like I sometimes when I get really hooked on a song and I can't stop listening to it, I I do this to myself every time, but it's because I'm so intrigued by the song that I can't stop listening to it until my ears fall off, and then I won't. But it's funny because it's like I when I was younger, I used to listen to music until it made me like physically ill,
Oh my god.
and it was like a real addiction. Like I would listen to songs because I didn't like my environment at the time, so
Sure.
putting my headphones on would be like I've shut off from the environment. I'll listen to whatever, even if it makes me physically ill. And it used to, because I used to listen to the same songs over and over and over and over again. And it's because they intrigued me so much. I had to figure out everything about it as a listener before I put it down. And it was just kind of like something to take my mind off of whatever at the time. But that doesn't happen anymore. I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
But I'm very happy where I am now. So when I listen to songs, but the one thing I do notice is that sometimes I will listen to a song that I love at the moment so much that I realize that I'm like starting to feel like I'm listening to it too much, so I can't appreciate it as much as I did the first time. So like now, I always listen to a song and I let it linger in my head, at least for some hours if I want to listen to it again, and then
Is that
I
what
go
happened
back
to
and listen to
Bird?
it. No,
Well,
Bird.
tell me about Bird.
So,
Also, quick question.
uh-huh.
This isn't X4 Yuya, is it?
Yeah, it's the same Yuya.
Wow. Okay.
So Yuya Matsushita is his solo. It's how he started. He started
Okay.
off as Yuya Matsushita, and then he um
Gradually expanded.
gradually expanded. I think it just ended up being like he wanted to try the boy band thing, and he did. And then now they're all solo, and now he's instead of Yuya Matsushita, he's just Yuya now.
With a U in there too.
Yeah,
But it's like so like I see this. I'm like, oh, this is like his government name. But like the Yuya
yeah.
that I know or I'm used to anyway is Youyuya.
Recently, yeah, in the last couple of years, I think like in
With like
X.
Ghost and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. God, Ghost is a great song. But that is a really great song. But no. Bird so the reason I chose all Japanese songs for my five is because
That's where
we
you
were
were.
kind of
Yeah.
talking about what was our 2010 like, and that was my 2010. I lived in Japan for the first time, so I focused a lot on the Japanese artists that I couldn't buy back home, and I can buy them here now. So that's what I did. And at the time, I actually started buying a lot of Black Butler stuff because I really loved the art. Like I was obsessed with Black Butler before actually
So
reading
the
Black
manga.
Butler. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
No, like before I read the manga.
Oh,
I
the
was
show.
obsessed with
Okay.
it. Yeah. So it's like before I knew the story at all, I loved the art. So I was like buying the art books and this and that. And funny thing is, so like in Japan there are anime musicals.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and so there's a Black Butler musical, and
That's so funny.
the first person to play Sebastian was Yuya Matsushita.
What?
And that's, I think, how they got him to sing the ending theme to the show.
Hold up, by the way.
Because, do you two remember how you found out about every song you've ever heard?
Most, not all,
Yeah.
for sure. Most
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so weird. Wait, so this dude was like the manager of a boy band, in the boy band, had a
Well, he
ballad
was the
phase.
founder, yeah.
So he started X4.
No, he started as Yuya Matsushita.
All right. So like balladeer in musicals, in a boy band.
Boy
Now
band came later, but yeah, he
heartthrob.
still does musicals. Yeah. Like this guy does
Man,
everything, and I can't
I'm
understand
envious.
where the stamina.
I'm
I know
envious.
I can't understand where the stamina comes from. It's
Someday,
like,
someday, y'all be you.
I know. It's like,
Get that Tony.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to sit here and bitch, but that's exactly how I wanted my life to play out. Except instead of acting, I wanted to be a painter. But anyway,
Hey, look at your painting right now. So like you're
and not
be
to
in the moment
mention,
but no time.
I'll just put this out there that nobody's my boss. I am my boss.
Okay.
I'm doing great. But the thing is, it's so I think it was at the time, and then my dorm mate actually came and she was like, "Oh, do you know there is a Black Butler musical?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking? That sounds stupid." But so I go in and I watch, and then I was like, is that Yuya Matsushita? And then she's like, yeah, how do you know him? And I'm like, because I like his music. And she's like, he does music. So yeah, so we were just like, oh, wow, he does everything. So then I guess at the time, I feel like I want to say that I heard Bird later because I guess the second season was airing then, and then but I hadn't even seen the first season yet, so I had to go watch everything and then
Work your way
listen to it.
back.
Yeah, and then I found out, oh, he did the ending theme. I mean, he's been linked to Black Butler since the musical, so that's
Yeah.
easy to figure out why he did it. But I like, you can't deny his voice.
Yeah.
Like his voice is I think the first thing that kind of got me into him was because I don't share this story often, but it's
Oh,
actually my
hello.
friend. Yeah, yeah, but it's my friend introduced his music to me
Mm-hmm.
in college. Like, this is before I went to Japan. It's like
Okay.
so she's more picky about music than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And she shows me this guy's picture, like, hey, he's a great singer, I know you like R&B and stuff, and he has a very smooth voice. And I look at this guy's picture and he just looks pretty.
You're like, oh no.
And I don't want to say, it's not a common thing that people say out loud, but it's how I strongly feel just growing up in so much music, is that just because you're pretty doesn't mean you can sing. It just means that you look pretty. And you could be manufactured, and I don't
in
know.
industry plants.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just
Those
like,
aren't real.
how can she give me this garbage? I even told her, like, how can you give me this? And she's like,
you
what?
were a hater.
I was like, yeah, no, I hated, like, I didn't even know where the hate came from. I hated this dude. And I was just like, this guy is too pretty to be able to sing. Are you sure you're listening to the song? Or are you like watching? Oh, I know.
A living abstraction. Hush.
I
Be
know.
quiet. You're commenting too loud, sir.
That's what we're here for. That's what you're here for. So, but it's kind of like, I think he proved me wrong in the best way.
Hey.
And I was shocked, but it wasn't just like, kind of when you go in being skeptical and then somebody somebody blows you away, but it's because they're better than what you thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, but I'm not stupid in that sense. Like, I'll admit when you're good, better than what I thought you were going to be. But this guy had serious control. Like, this guy is one of the few, like, entertainers that I can say that can dance and sing at the same time, because not many of them can.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, this guy has definitely blown me away. Like, I'm just gonna continue listening. And at the time, I was really into Black Butler, so it's actually how I found Calafina as well.
Oh, that's right. Because I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Calafina is two vocalists and like the songwriter, right?
No, it's three vocalists, and the songwriter is actually, she writes songs for a lot of different things. She's like a Celtic songwriter, yeah. Okay. And so her main, like, base is generally like Celtic type of vibe. And she actually brought those three girls together and sing it.
Okay,
but
I misunderstood when I read the bio.
No worries. But yeah, no, I just his voice is really nice. I don't know if you saw, like, even the music video is really nice. The dance is really beautiful for it. And we just had to listen to the songs, right? Like, I didn't watch any videos either. So like, the dance is really beautiful to it. I think it's just but it's one of those songs that at the time, especially because I was intaking as much Japanese music as I could, it's just one of those songs that I was just happy to hear. And I'm just like, you can't deny his voice. It, how it showcased his voice in a beautiful way. And that little key change is my favorite part. And it took me, and like, I'd always go to karaoke, and if I was just drunk enough, I could never do the key change.
Aww.
And but that key change in the
in the bridge,
kind of like in like a bridge, yeah, it's like my favorite part of the whole song.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna front, like it's so funny. We're like, oh, like Fool by the Night is 7 minutes. Yikes, it's a large investment. Almost 6 long minute, almost like a 6 minute ballad. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
again, like there's like a long instrumental break towards the back half of the song, so it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
just like just hang out in the space for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
some ballads are just like too cheesy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like I feel like this is the Goldilocks of like ballads, and we got like three of these bad boys, and they all just like
Yeah.
hit the spot. Like it's funny I mentioned Mariah Carey because one of the songs on Butterfly I wasn't too keen on
Uh-huh.
the duet version with Brian McKnight. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This was what I feel like the song was missing. Just another vocalist that just like fills the space in a way that I didn't think it could be filled. Just
Hmm.
like Yuya. So there's
Yeah.
that. 2 songs in, 8 to go.
Yes.
We'll be here for a while, folks. So like strap
well,
in, get a snack.
well, I know our intro was also super long, so I'm just gonna.
But hey, we have a lot. We
Yeah.
have a lot to say and like and a lot to like discuss. Let's
Yeah.
just get the Gorillaz song out of the way, shall we? I know
Yeah.
we're both very passionate about that particular
Yes.
song.
I'm actually
So
gonna
like
pull up the lyrics.
Plastic Beach, like back when there are only like 3 albums, I think that
Yeah.
Plastic Beach is my personal favorite only because it's the one that I owned first. You know, like my brother happened to purchase like the other two, and like for a while, like Demon Days was the only one that I knew. But
Hmm.
like I just love how there's such a significant difference with like the band of Gorillaz when you consider just like at first it's just Damon, Dan the Automator, and everyone else like who just like had a hip hop background. And then
Yeah.
like with Demon Days, we brought in Danger Mouse, one like producer extraordinaire, just like bringing in so many new characters like Booty Brown and MF Doom and De La Soul. And with and because of like this the work those albums put in, when we have Plastic Beach, we have a even bigger budget. We have K.V.O, Snoop Dogg, Mos Def, the Brass Hypnotic Orchestra, we have what's the we have the Clash. We have Little Dragon. We have so many. We have a Bobby Womack. Who's the dude from Die Hard?
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is here. Like there's just so much going on, and it's so much fun, you know, and like even now like we still have they're still finding more people to collaborate with and stuff. So
Yeah.
like if you're wondering where like this is like we're gonna talk about what Gorillaz used to sound like, but like if you're like out of date, you really need to listen to Cracker Island with Thundercat because that
Oh,
song
I
is
just saw this.
super great. It's
It's a.
so good.
I have
Like
to try that.
because the last 2 projects I was kind of like I wasn't too keen on. Like I really liked Humans, but I didn't listen to the Now Now or Song Machine. But like, goodness gracious, like I think it's great that we got Thundercat on a Gorillaz record because he knows like he grew up on that shit and like his own work is influenced by what they did. And
Oh
Living Abstraction
wow.
makes a great point that Plastic Beach could be their magnum opus. I feel like it's like the ignored child of the three because history will probably only remember Demon Days because you heard Feel Good Incorporated every single day when it came out, and like
Yeah.
hipsters will only like care about the first album because that was when like it it's what made really special, like just getting like that vocal feature from
Yeah.
Homeboy who gosh darn it, who's Ice Cube's cousin who did like the rap for Rock the House and
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Uh-huh.
But
I've heard Clint
I'm
Eastwood.
this is exactly where I want to be. This like Empire Ants, um uh Rhinestone Eyes, White
Yeah.
Flag,
Yeah.
To Binge, The Cloud of Unknowing, and
I
this
feel like
song.
the only album that I heard in full was Demon Days. I
See,
actually had
you're
to
proving
go
my
back
point.
to I actually had to go back to Spotify to figure out the album name because I remembered the cover.
Yeah, of course. And thank you, Dell. Shout out to Dell.
What do you say? I
Um,
didn't say.
oh, beg your pardon. Dell, who does like the rap feature for Rock the House and Clint Eastwood in the
Oh
first
yeah,
album,
gotcha. Thank you.
and some so on Melancholy Hill, like I feel like it's the safe song on like Plastic Beach because it's just the band. And
Yeah.
the video is very very cool. Like there's like a whole concept like out. There's like a whole like plot line to the album where the band
Yeah.
is like there's like a robot who like has replaced Noodle for some reason or another. Like she's growing up. Like I imagine she's around the same age we are right now, canonically in the
Yeah.
band. Like we can
Yeah.
see Tootie's eyes again for some reason. Like Russell is like the size of a like Russell is like Godzilla size for some reason, and Russell
Yeah.
is this Murdoch is still the same.
Yeah.
But we have just like this very just like calm, just like synth heavy song.
Hmm.
And like I remember specifically like buying this album in Virginia in Walmart because I wanted to buy a CD. I had enough money to buy it. And like I had no idea what I was going to get. And buying albums in Walmart is difficult because
Yeah.
like since they're like a family company, you can't
Hmm.
get like a really good rap album from Walmart because
Yeah.
it's going to be heavily edited. At least it would
Yeah.
be at the time. Nowadays, like you can get stuff you can get like I don't know like a Nardo Wick or like a JID record from Walmart because where the heck else are you going to get your CDs, right?
Yeah.
But at least at the time, it's like, oh, I had limited options. And like, I know it's like pick through. I'm like, oh, who's this? What's this? I want to like just see what's there because this is what I'm focused on. So I get this
Yeah.
album and like, it's just so strange. And like, I had a really hard time playing records around my family. But
Yeah.
like, this album was like my companion
Feel
for
that.
like my
Yeah.
senior year. And
Hmm.
when I finished radio school, I had the opportunity to like live with a friend. And we
Hmm.
hadn't like seen one another since middle school, right?
Hmm.
But like we connected over this album because we already knew that we liked it, and so we played it in like his CD, the CD, like we were in his mom's car playing this album and
Yeah.
playing this song, and just like both just like signaling to one another when you hear like that dong at the end of the song.
Yeah.
Just having that moment was so perfect for each other, and like I
Yeah.
lost that friend like
Oh.
at the end of that like period,
Oh.
and maybe it was for the best, but just like that like just the conversations we had, the memories we made, and just like the way that it ended like kind of hurt like I lost like a real love for the first
Yeah.
time. And so when I think of On Melancholy Hill, like it was in those moments where like, oh, we were in like his bedroom playing games, like I don't know,
Yeah.
praying and like just like wanting to write our own music and
Like it's
trying to write
amazing.
lyrics. It's
It's
a really really great
amazing.
record.
Yeah. I think it's amazing also that how also sorry if I like look somewhere for a while. I'm not
It's
very
fine.
good at fake light. So like my room light and the laptop light is just and I don't have my glasses. So but it's amazing how much memory can stick to a song, especially when you connect with someone over a song. And when you mentioned that it was hard to play records in front of your family, like that hit home. Like I
Oh,
hated talking about my music because all they would do was make fun of it. And I listened to a lot of foreign songs. And like even when I listened to like Kannada songs, which is the language my family speaks, it'd be like, "Oh, but you're an American girl, so why don't you listen to more American music?" I'm like, "I did the other day, and then you commented on that." And then now I listen to Japanese music, and that's bizarre in itself for whatever reason. And it's like, but I mean, now as an older person, like I guarantee I've listened to songs from like every continent. Like I just there's no
the
I
way
but I
God
have no
intended.
yeah, and I'm just like I have no limit in music and the way that I learned culture and the way that like a lot of people talk about how food is the way into culture. And I have dietary restrictions since I was born. So like when we learn about culture, it's through art and music. And my
Yes.
dad actually he loved music so much in India. The first time he had ever heard a Western song is when it opened his eyes to another world. And like my uncle still says that one that I guess I don't know if it's the first song that my dad ever heard, but it's a song that he played so often in India in front of his family. It was Black Magic Woman with Carlos Santana.
That's a record.
And
That record
so
goes
like
different.
my uncle when he hears that song, he's like, "Oh, this is your daddy's song. He always played this song." And it's just like,
That's a lot. That's heavy.
yeah, and it's but I mean, it's hard because when for us who are just so passionate about music, we want to connect with people through music. I'm lucky in the sense that I just have an interest in everything, right? So like my family, whatever they're interested in, they'll talk to me about it, and I'm engaged because they're passionate
Certainly,
about
yeah.
it. So I'm okay with it. Like if you're that passionate, of course I want to hear, I want to listen, I want to this, but no one ever paid the same respect to me. So I never wanted to share what I listened to or share what I did.
You keep it to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like when you said that, I was like, bro, that hits home so much. And I think that's why like you and I have such music talks, but like I probably don't do this with anyone else.
Dang.
Yeah. And I only have like a handful of friends. You'd think I'd talk about these things with all of them, but I really don't.
Right.
And only East Asian music is one of my friends will send it to me because she'll be like, "Oh, I like this one. Maybe you'll like it too." And but then which is great because then I just like expand my library, but then otherwise I don't.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier about how like your dad hearing like Santana for the first time was like there's a whole like sonic like galaxy that's outside of my own. And I feel like the best thing about Gorillas is that you get a Gorillas feature, oh, like you're gonna get a bag, and like more
Mhm.
people are gonna want to hear your stuff,
Yeah.
Vince Staples, Scally Uchis, like Benjamin Clementine, heckin' like Jack Black, even, like Schoolboy
Wow.
Q.
Oh, Schoolboy
Uh,
too.
yeah, because they did that Pac-Man record together on Song Machine.
Yeah. I'm gonna dim my
Golly,
light, so I'm gonna look a little
that's
mysterious
fine.
for now.
Yeah, but just like it's like because it's so like there are people who just like who would never listen to De La Soul if it weren't for like Feel Good Incorporated and things like that,
Yeah,
and just
I
like
agree.
like when we think about how Damon, like Gorilla's just like Damon Albarn and like the gentleman, I think Jamie Hewitt, who does all the art, and
Hmm.
it's just like the just like the group that's around Damon, like because he had a whole other identity with Blur and stuff like that, and frankly, Blur at this point is just pretentious '90s rock, but like to say I can reinvent myself and try something else with
Yeah,
all these talented people and
yeah,
go all over the world. Like
yeah,
Gorillaz just finished a tour.
yeah.
Like they're on the road all this time. And their drummer for the road was the drummer from Ezra Collective, which was a jazz band that I got into because I got some for free on Google Play. And just
Oh,
like
very
that
nice.
one song they do, I'm like, oh, this is a great song. I'm just gonna keep my eye on this group and just see where things go.
Very
And
nice.
I follow this guy who like maybe posts like a drumming video. I'm like, oh, this guy's very talented. I'm gonna like his stuff and just add it to like the list. Go on social media one day and like it's like, oh, that's the dude from Ezra Collective. He was drawing for Gorillas, and just like keeping your hands in so many pies, you never know how like those worlds will intersect with one another,
Yeah,
and that's what's
yeah.
so cool about the
Right.
Gorillas, the Gorillas sound, and that's what
Yeah,
that's it's so great knowing like, oh, like you never know when just like liking someone's post or like following them on stuff where
yeah.
it leads you. And oh, living abstraction, come on, babe, let's call a spade a spade. I
You
know
know
I'm
when you
a hipster king,
when
but
you
like
said that, that's why I laughed. I was like, somebody gonna say something about that.
because like if I can go off for like 2 minutes.
Go
Like
for
the
it.
average Joe knows one song by Blur. What song do you think that is?
I don't
Song two, their grunge parody. They know
know.
nothing about this band. Maybe they've heard She's So High, but like anything other than that, get the fuck out of here. Let's be real. And maybe
I'm
that's me
not
being
gonna
pretentious.
lie. I haven't heard Blur, and like, oh my god, I even looked them up, and the first thing to come up was Blurred Lines on Spotify.
Cursed. But I digress. It's like you want it's like if you want to listen to a song that's gonna like I don't know, like if you want something like just like it's like easy listening or smooth
Yeah,
jazz
yeah,
without just like the corny or like cringy connotation. And
yeah,
like maybe if you like watch the music video that's on like the YouTube version of our playlist, maybe that'd be a great way to start. You're like, oh, who are all like these like bizarre characters I've never seen before? And like a lot of like the collaborators for Plastic Beach got illustrated for this video, which is so cool. And
yeah,
so like it's so in like if you've seen like the oh for show meme of Snoop Dogg, it's like his like feature for Welcome to the World of the Plastic Beach and
yeah.
various other things in that way. And so Heck yeah, man. Like sometimes like girls get the bad rap. Damon himself was kind of
Yeah.
like shot himself in the foot recently with the NFTs and the I don't sample. I'm an artist.
Oh my
Baby,
gosh.
never forget where you came from because the internet will never let you forget.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and
That's
one last thing about
crazy.
Blur. One last thing about Blur.
Okay.
There's a man from Canada named Nardwar the Human Serviette. He's my favorite interviewer of all time, second only to
Okay.
Precious Renee Tucker. But often enough, if an artist is nice to Nardwar, they're probably a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in Blur were not nice to
I
Nardwar. And I
I
know that
I
like
see.
he's a very like weird and like bizarre character, but like he made Jack Harlow cry because like when he interviews folks, he's like, "Oh, who's this person? Oh, did you ever go here? Or what's this all about?"
Yeah.
He's very extensive research, and so when people talk
Yeah.
to him, they're like, "Whoa, how'd you find out about that? Nobody
Yeah.
knows about that." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I found out." And like he's asking Jack such like personal questions about his like development and career. He got really emotional. He's like, "Wow, like you care enough about me to like find this out about me." And like
Yeah.
Jack Harlow just got here, if we're being for real. He's been a
Yeah.
rapper for a long time, but not many people know about him for real. Narbar
Yeah.
found out because like, oh, like you're gonna be here for a while, so I want to make sure that hey, I've got my eye on you,
People
and
know.
like
Yeah.
you worked hard, and
Yeah.
so like it's not no malintent, no shade to Jack. Like didn't like that song he did with Drake, but that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
I know the interview you're talking
Okay,
about. I
good.
know
I'm
that
glad to hear
he
that. Thank you.
was on drugs at the time. Okay. I don't know. I don't follow Blur, so
We should move on.
I'm not
We spent
gonna
a
lie.
lot of
Like
time
a
on
lot
girls.
of, like honestly, a lot of artists that I probably heard back then. I don't know if I follow any of them now. Which is
And
kind
that's
of sad
rough, right?
because I think,
That's kind of rough.
yeah, I think it's, and I don't know if it's their change that changed my listening or my change that changed my listening. And I think one of
Probably
the
more the
things
latter, if we're
is,
keeping it real.
yeah, and I think one of the things is that I don't shy away from it. Like the other day I found like randomly I ran into Disturbed Down with the Sickness on YouTube, and I hadn't heard that
Been a
song
long
in a hot
time.
minute. Yeah. And then so like I listened to the song and then I just went and listened to the album. And I just like I it had been a long time since I've heard Disturbed. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go listen to them. And like I don't shy away from like bands that I had before. Sometimes if they have new albums out or they're still creating, I'll still go like
You'll
find
take a
time to listen
glance.
to it. Yeah. And I think I and it's so strange because I've kind of reverted back to what I grew up on at this age. So now I'm just listening to a lot of global music. And so like the other day I even shared with you that sometimes when I'm doing chores I listen to the African Folktales podcast. It's not music, but it has like a musical background and it gets you like intrigued about the story because like folktales are something that I feel like really old cultures have. And all of these stories are passed down orally. And
Mm-hmm.
so it reminds me of my culture. Like when there were stories that my great grandmother used to tell me when I was a kid, or like, and it kind of has that same feeling. How you learn the moral behind the story. Why did this happen to this? Why did this animal do this? And like the moral of the story is, don't be a douchebag. And like you just kind of and like it's just like a heartfelt story that kind of makes you like feel like home again. And it's like I've started just going back to, and I've always loved learning about different cultures. So like I just started going back to listening to music from different countries, and especially countries that I wouldn't have normally growing up, which is kind of sad. Like I wish I knew more about African music. And when I say Africa, I mean the continent Africa. Like I want to know more about each country. I want to know more about what music differs from their countries, what in their culture differs, what in their like I mean, the one song on TikTok from Nigeria is really popular now.
What song?
I don't remember the name. Why you do
See,
this
and
to
I
me?
want to stop you there only because like I think that's what I think that's like a big thing, a big problem across the board.
Yeah.
Even with radio, it's like
And
you
I
hear
don't
that
even know how to pronounce it. It's like
it's
love
fine
something.
and it's
Love.
fine. But I want to like I only want to cut you off so we can get to the next record. But just like the idea that like you hear a song that might change your life forever. Like, oh, like
Yeah.
I never heard this before. I like it. What is it?
Yeah.
You'll cut to an ad, and maybe like if like the on-air announcer like turns the mic back on, maybe they'll say the name of the song, but
Yeah,
just
but
maybe.
sometimes they don't. They like, I think like one time they played it on Hot 995 and Ryan Seacrest said it once. And like
Yeah,
I have the
I gotta hear
song
that. I gotta
saved.
hear that 3 times. Low key, because like
Yeah.
if you're in the car, you're not gonna write that down. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like
That's such a
it's
beautiful song. I love that song.
you find it, you send it, so I can put it in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah. And so
It's by CK. I know that. I know the artist is CK.
letters.
No. It's C letter, then
Uh huh.
K-A-Y. CK.
That's fine. Okay, at least I can Google that. I have a whole other rant about like folks who name themselves and
Like
their
this
music.
song.
Wait, no, don't do it.
Why?
Copyright strike.
Wait, really? For
Oh, of
playing 2
course.
seconds of it?
Oh, of course.
This
Oh, of
garbage.
course.
I
That
do it all the
DCMA.
time on Twitch and I still haven't gotten kicked off for it.
Don't press your luck. Unless I gotta say about that. Don't press your luck.
Are you
It's
serious?
I'm not even playing with you. Like when I was like, do you remember when I told you I was doing like a Beyonce podcast?
No. You might have mentioned it.
Okay, see, I didn't do that well. But when me and the two hosts were talking about like Beyonce's background in like the group that she was in prior to
I put
Destiny's
it in the
Child.
chat, the private chat, by the way. On
Cheers. I'll pop
StreamYard.
that in. I'll probably just like
Copy
yeah, I'll
paste.
probably just like pop that in. Let me
It's a great
but
song. It's the only TikTok song that I've actually went out of my way to find.
heck yeah. I'm glad to see that myself. But I'm gonna pop it on here and just pop it on screen. But when I we if you've ever seen like the video for I think Pretty Hurts from
Mm-hmm.
like Beyonce's like self-titled release,
Mm-hmm.
there's a clip of Beyonce in her girl group prior to Destiny's Child, and they're on like Star Search,
Yeah.
and like they did their thing.
Yeah.
And just like, and it wasn't like the actual music video, but just a
Mm-hmm.
clip from the video. The algorithm is like, hey, you played a Beyonce song on your stream and you didn't pay for it, and they flagged it. And like it annoyed me, but I'm like, well, screw you, I guess, because I have less than 300 subscribers. Like that's not gonna hurt me really.
Oh my god.
And so like
Oh,
I'm ever so paranoid about like
gotcha. Okay.
it, and
No
it's
worries.
like it's
I
so
didn't know because it's never
yeah.
happened to me once. Because I play like 5 seconds of a song or like 10 seconds of a song. And there was one time where, and usually those stick. And I don't stream on YouTube. So usually they stick and they're fine. But there was an art, and I think it's because Twitch didn't have a rule at the time. So what would happen was I was actually drawing on this laptop. I was doing a digital art of prints, and which I have prints of, by the way, on my site for
Prince
sale.
of Prince on
So
sale. Substyle.com.
yes, they're very limited. But I was drawing this. I actually streamed this drawing, and I was playing Prince songs out of the
Oh my
laptop,
god.
and then like my phone was kind of aiming down and recording what I was drawing, and so it was like picking up from the stereo whatever I was playing. And so I guess Twitch recently might have made like, hey, you can't play other people's songs or whatnot. And I think the only thing is that while you're streaming, people can hear it and it's okay. But after you're done streaming, it saves the recording and then it'll cut the audio of the recording.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. I think it's stupid.
But like, yeah, it's super stupid. But if that's the case, I mean, like, but on Twitch, you can still stream and listen to whatever song you want. It's just the recording will have no audio after.
Nah, like if you're gonna fuck with my shit, why even give me the opportunity to do it?
Oh yeah, no, like I learned the hard way. Like my friend actually went back to watch the recording again because he was trying to remember what Prince song I played at what time. And he messaged me. He's like, they cut the audio of your thing. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, yeah. And I was
Shit's
like,
whack.
I thought Twitch had no music rules. And he's like, oh, that's what I thought. And then we find out later that Twitch actually officially announced, like, hey, these are the rules. You can't do this. And
Especially
it's
now
because
that Amazon owns Twitch.
it's also because they effed up their contract, which doesn't allow you to play music anymore.
Lame.
So it was their fault.
The
So
one
we are
time I
all
went,
following the rules until then.
the one time I've live streamed on TikTok once, and it was like
Hmm.
really embarrassing and really it's really hard work streaming alone.
Yeah.
And so what I really want, honestly, is to just like, and I've said this before, I want to recreate the environment that I had when I would like go on to plug DJ almost every night and just like be in a room full of strangers. We play each other records, but like, you know, they
Ooh.
have the YouTube video embedded. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's you like
Yeah.
the videos you watched in Plug DJ would be in your history and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
it's like cool if I go live, I'll just tell folks to go to like this specific website and we'll like listen to records there. But nobody followed me, and like
Yeah.
my real friends were there. Like Living Abstraction was there. My friend Chris was there.
Hmm.
Shout out to Chris. But like it's really hard to just like see, yeah, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, Plug DJ. Just it's I just want to like I want opportunities to like get into more stuff because there's a lot of music out there.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like if I'm left my own devices, I'll only play stuff that I like for like the next like because like Spotify Wrapped drops soon, and so like I'm really looking forward to seeing like what I've been listening to over the last year because like my like
I
I've
don't
gotten into
even
so
know.
much since
Yeah.
2022 since this pandemic started. Like
Yeah.
with the Catter and Kennard podcast, our 25th episode's coming up, and we
Yeah.
decided that like our 25th episode will be a playlist that we build together, like 25
Yeah.
songs for the 25th episode, and only records we listened to when we were 25.
Hmm.
And like my co-host is like, this is gonna be hard for me because like it's been so long because he's a little older than I am, and I'm thinking, dang, how am I gonna figure this out? And it's really because of Spotify that like I have like my 100 most streamed songs
Yeah.
from 2017 when I was 25, and it's like, oh, this is sick.
Wow.
I didn't live in Philly yet. Like this is very interesting because like
Huh.
most of it is kind of like it's a little bit jumbled because my friend Chris different Chris, he got married,
Yeah.
and he's like, and his wife was like, yo, you got to be the DJ. And so I built a
Hmm.
playlist for them based off what they wanted to hear and what I thought, oh, this might go off at the wedding and stuff like that. So it's like I didn't really listen to that record, but because like it was in preparation for the wedding, I'm seeing how things like blend and whatever. It's like, oh, like these are there too, but it takes it back to that moment. So that was very cool.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to you, buddy. Um, here's what I propose.
Yeah, I don't know what mine's gonna be. Yeah.
Here's what I propose.
Okay.
You and I can talk and talk and talk for days and days and days.
Yeah.
We're also very busy people.
Yeah.
My thing is, let's get through 5 songs today, and we come
Yeah.
back for a part 2,
Yeah.
just so we don't like burn ourselves out tonight. We'll probably go for
Yeah.
another hour because I know that's what we do in the first
Yeah.
place, right?
That's
Um,
totally okay with me. I mean,
so
I'm not sleepy.
bad. We'll run until like the gas runs out.
Yeah.
We'll,
But I
let's
still have a second song to do, right?
yeah, let's talk about can we talk about Despairs Ray?
Sure.
I want to tell you,
Oh.
at first, I was like, about this song when I heard it the first time. But like upon listening to it again for the second time, it's like I have to just like respect how like the vocals are harmonized, and like when I hear like this Despairs Ray song, this is rock and roll. And not to be like cheesy about it, but this shit is like
Yeah.
rock and roll. Like
Yeah.
it's giving me Motley Crue, AC/DC
Oh,
vibes. But
yeah.
like you wouldn't hear this kind of singing from either of those bands. Like the way that the vocals are layered and harmonized. Like this is straight from Japan.
Yeah.
Point blank period. And they're Visual K, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's what I love about Visual K, because it's like you see such striking looks from all the members when you watch the videos or see the
Yeah.
performances, and like you're hypnotized by the way that the people are singing, and
Yeah.
like you got the gang vocals. It's very tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and
It's like oh, sorry. Go ahead. No.
it's like in kind of like like a cheesy wrestler kind of way, or like
Yeah.
you do these buff dudes like putting about that aggression and stuff. Because like usually the stuff I listen to is that kind of aggressive, but like in a different way. Like
Yeah.
it's like relentless and just like a ferocious animal. It's
Yeah.
like you hear this song, you turn your head, it's like, whoa, those guys are in town. Like almost like Desperados, but like they've just got like these wacky outfits, but just like you're like, ooh, but who's that? What are they
Yeah.
doing? Can I be
Yeah.
like them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's this song about either?
um trying to remember the lyrics. So it's actually one of my favorite Dispersory songs, and I think it again has to tie into the memory of it. I think when they created this album, and I was a fan for about 8 years prior to that.
This
And
song?
so,
Wow.
oh no, not this song. The band.
Okay.
And the first time I saw them was when they were able to do an American tour for this album.
Oh my God.
And I saw them in New York City.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
opened the tour with this song.
That's so cool.
Or they opened the show with this song.
That is
And
so cool, dude.
the song is a march. It literally is a march.
Yeah.
You're marching to fight for what you believe is right. And you're fighting for yourself, and it's just, but it gives you that vibe. You wouldn't even need to know Japanese for that. And it's God, I fucking love them so much. Okay, so like, if for people who don't know, this is my favorite band ever. I think I thank them for a lot of the influence I had as kind of like a preteen and an adolescent. But they, if they kept making songs now, I doubt I'd leave them. So the thing about this, so the reason I had to choose a song from this album, and I chose 13 because I thought, it was a great way to start the playlist. It's a great song. It was the show opener for the tour when they came to the US. This was their last album before they broke up the same year.
Oh my God.
And I didn't know they were going to break up when I saw them the first time. And they're probably the only show that I've ever left in tears because I was so moved by the show.
Emotionally overcome. Wow.
Yeah. I've never done that at any other show up until now. Never done it. I've seen Yoshiki from X Japan, and I didn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's all about, it's nothing about like seniority. We all know Yoshiki is a beautiful musician. X Japan is a beautiful band. Like if you want to listen to classic rock, you listen to X Japan. And I was listening to them the other day, actually. I was listening to Vanishing Love, is probably my favorite song. And it's just the emotion you have behind the music that you listen to and the bands that inspire you. And so I always thought, because it was so hard to see these bands that I liked so much, that I would never see them. And I think the fact that I got to see people who inspired me so much, it's not even just in music and style and fashion, they're very dark. So they're very like they're visual K technically, because their visuals have a lot to do with their band, but they're more of the gothic rock style. So if you listen to their older stuff, it's very gothic heavy rock. And it's the only time I've ever cried after a show. And then I saw them 2 more times after that in the same year in Japan.
Yeah.
And then I went to, so I saw 2 shows in Japan, and then I saw the second one. I went with a classmate for the first one because she had never seen a Japanese band before she wanted to go. So we went together.
Right.
And then I saw the second show by myself, and that was actually their last show at Dispersory. They just didn't announce it.
Wow.
And so I also have the DVD of that show. But yeah, no, I picked 13 because we were talking about time, and I thought 2010 was, the end of Dispersory. It was like, my friend who introduced me actually to Yuya Matsushita's Sebastian said to me that I was acting like my parents were divorcing when they broke up.
Oh, that's so harsh.
And I was like, well, F you, my parents are dead. And then she's like, Vina, that's not a funny joke. And then I was like, I'm not joking. So then I laughed.
Nothing funny about it, babe.
Yeah, so I laughed, but she didn't find it funny. Anyway, it's dark humor. For those of you who don't
laugh
know.
keep them crying, right?
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who don't know, I just have my brother as my family. So anyway,
konnichiwa.
I don't know. He said he'd hop on. I don't know if he's watching. So
it's all good.
Then but in any case, she was just like, you are so upset about this. And I was just like, yeah, because they shaped how I write. They shape, like, even though I don't write music the way they write, I it was the first time that I felt it was okay to write about dark things or dark thoughts or
Mm.
sad things. And so that made it, and like they did it in such a poetic way, with something I wanted to achieve, which I feel like I have. I think it's just something I need to show off. But it's almost like if I did music when I was younger, I probably would have written more like that. I think I'm a little more positive in what I'm writing recently. So it's just like a different way of writing. I don't know what it is, but when I used to write lyrics back then and write poems back then, it was highly inspired by them.
I would say, as someone who's heard all of your songs out right now, when I hear Freaks, which is appropriate since that Halloween's right around the corner, I can
Yeah.
hear a little bit of disparagement in that, with like
Yeah.
the way that you like the way you wanted the guitars to sound, with
Yeah.
that with that distortion
With
and
like
things
the
of that
rhythm, it's
nature.
like the distortion and the rhythm, the way the rhythm is, it's in the same key that they write all their songs in. Like all,
There you go.
like
See?
they write all their songs in, if not all, most of their songs are in D minor. And because I love them so much, I write all my songs in D minor.
Hey man.
So it's like my vocals are flexible, luckily. So if I needed to sing at some point, I could sing in D minor. It's like I had to keep that influence somewhere, and that's what I
Oppress you.
did.
I gotta press you. Just like for those who have not heard V's records, like a lot of poetry, a lot of rapping. I
Hmm.
need more singing. I
Yes.
need more singing. I've heard you
Yes.
sing maybe once,
Yeah.
like since
I
like
think
you
it's
moved
only in
away.
Valentine's. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, Valentine does count because you have that kind of like that kind of spooky vibe of
Yeah.
Valentine's. Like just like
Yeah.
that
It almost ended
bubbling
up being like a
rage.
Halloween song because I was so mad that I had to write on Valentine's. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to sit at home and do nothing and eat chocolate on Valentine's Day. And then instead, I ended up doing this.
Your God-given right.
Yeah,
Shall
but
we?
yeah. Want to move on to the next one, or do
I
you
think
have
we
anything
should.
more to say? Okay.
I'm glad. All I'll say, I'm glad I gave this song a second chance because
Oh,
like
good.
they're like one thing. What I love rock bands from Japan. I
Yes.
love them.
Yes.
Like
I
my
know.
my thoughts on Japanese metal. Like you hear a band like you hear like a Japanese metal band once, like you're in it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take much to like get into like Japanese metal, but getting into Japanese rock, there's so many like layers and intricacies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just got into this band called Dios, and I know
Mm-hmm.
they're from Japan. Never heard of them before, and I'm like, I never really heard a Japanese band like this, and I love that. I can't like um oh, when I hear this, I hear this Japanese band. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know many bands that sound like them. And like
Yeah.
that's great. I'm glad that I don't I'm glad that that whenever like I get into a new band from that country, from that side of the world, it's
Yeah.
like, oh great. Because I remember one time in high school, one of my classmates like, oh, listen to this one Japanese rock band. Like
Yeah.
they're what I like right now. And like I heard, I'm like, oh, it's Give Me Jonas Brothers. And like when I told her that, she was a little upset. But like in hindsight, that's not a bad thing. Like
It's
that's
not.
good
It's
marketing.
not.
That's good
Yeah.
marketing. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, can I ask what band this is?
I don't remember what it was, but the song is I See Teru. And I'm like, this is a little cheesy. It's a record. I'm like, yeah.
That doesn't help me. Every song sounds like that.
Oh my God. I don't remember what they were called either. I may have to shoot her a text and let you
Wait,
know
was it
later,
was it
yeah?
was it was it a rock band?
I think so. Pretty sure.
It wasn't pop
Like maybe like I honestly don't remember. It's been so long, but like
or a
that
solo
just
act?
I don't know, but like I promise you, I'm gonna let you know.
Okay, yes. Now
Oh,
I need
quick comment from
to.
our dear friend.
So we join up for a stream or collaboration. Oh, sure.
Songs in regards like streaming and like singing a song is hard when two people are in different rooms, but I guess like if it's one of those things where like a legit straight up duet, it could possibly be done right. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
as long I feel like if someone else is hosting it, it might be impossible. But like I know like there are folks having like Zoom karaoke parties and like they're nothing but pain. So like
I gotta
maybe
watch.
if
If
someone
you
donate
guys do this, I gotta watch this.
if someone donates some money, I think we'll have no choice. But so like bear that in mind, future listeners.
Yes.
Um let's move back to my list. We've
Yep.
done Fool by the Night, we've done A Melancholy Hill, This will probably be my last song. We'll do one more of mine, then one more of yours, and we'll save like the remaining four for the last stream.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Let's save Girls' Generation for next time because I know you have a lot of feelings.
Okay.
You have a lot of feelings, and
Okay.
I'm gonna press you because
Okay.
of all like the groups from K-pop that like have like smoke for SNSD, like that's like having smoke for like Betty White if we're keeping it a buck.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I absolutely 100% disagree with that statement. I don't
And
think I've ever disagreed with anything that you've ever told me because usually I don't disagree with much, but that is the untruest statement that you've ever let out your mouth. I don't know where you got that from. Betty
now,
White was an angel. Don't you dare.
rest in peace, Miss Betty. But and because I'm all for like letting off like subliminals from like SM Entertainment, aka
Mm-hmm,
Shitty M Entertainment, like
mm-hmm.
fuck the
Yeah.
labels over there for sure. The
Oh
big
no,
three
I
that
agree.
that
Yeah.
ruin like performers and idols' lives and things like
Yeah.
that,
I
and
mean, they still
manipulate the
do,
fans and
but
stuff like that, which they still do
yeah.
this day. Let's keep it a buck.
Mm-hmm.
All the big conglomerates. My hot take about K-pop is that as long as men run the industry, the industry is doomed.
Oh,
Like,
well.
just if I can go on a bit of a tangent, there's this
Mhm,
new group called a new group called New Jeans. Like they're a
mhm,
girl group, like, and they're a young group. I want to make that explicitly clear.
mhm.
And like they put out a record and the song is called Cookie.
Hmm.
And like it's not the wholesome kind of cookie.
Yeah, I didn't figure as much.
And I'm just like, these idols aren't adults. Who's
Yeah.
writing these songs?
I was
You know? And so
yeah.
I strongly feel as if like I feel like maybe the genre in particular, with all the Western influence that it takes in, perhaps like the content wouldn't be so questionable if the creatives were responsible of what they were actually putting out into the world, and like there weren't, and you know it's pop, so like you know like you you know like folks who are obsessed with music know what the heck they're getting into. But I feel as though like because what I appreciate about that genre and what it did for me personally is that like I feel that though I feel it at that time in 2010 when I like made
Yeah.
my first like when I first got into the genre. I'm like, oh, here are pop groups that are doing what I think that American pop groups are not doing.
Gotcha.
An emphasis on the training, you know,
Gotcha.
be it language, be it the
Gotcha.
singing, be it the dancing, be it the
Mhm,
really great videos. I
mhm.
feel as, and you know, some of these videos have aged so poorly.
Yeah.
Someone like this, like like heck, like I remember a specific era of BTS that I'd rather not talk about without getting threatened. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh.
like
Oh.
that wasn't like the responsibility of like the performers. It was the folks responsible for like
Who
presenting
threw them out
these
there?
young men,
Yeah.
putting these young men to the
Yeah.
world. They didn't know what the
Yeah.
heck was going on. It wasn't their responsibility to know. And so as so like was I ever going to hear like a song like G by an American? No, dog. It
No.
was probably like Gaga was probably the
Yeah.
only artist with like taking chances with like doing something interesting, which is why I feel like, oh, like here's something that's like can like perform at a level like a Gaga that's not already like an act that's like well established and again the West wasn't giving this genre a chance
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
until like Psy crossed over. And you know,
Yeah.
like they never gave Psy another chance. And when they
Because
and
Psy was
and for the record, his second like rec song to like do well in the States, Gentlemen, not
yeah.
really a great song, but like his songs after the fact, way more enjoyable. But like, oh, like it's a fad, we're done. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, and like with as long as it took for Americans to give K-pop a shot, oh, J-pop, not a fucking chance.
Yeah, like,
Not a fucking
I
chance.
think since we're already on the tangent, I don't mind talking about G, but let me just add to what you said because it's just I have so much to say. Psy's song became popular because it was comedic. And when you
Great
think
video.
about,
Funny video.
when you think about American comedy,
Yes.
because we're all so different, what do we make fun of? We make fun of
Or
everybody's
fat people.
differences. Yeah, but and that's not what I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
I'm talking about comedic culture in the U.S. When you think about, like, for example, we before we actually got on this call, we were talking about Apu, right? And how I felt about Apu growing up. But when people saw his character, a lot of them laughed because it was something different. It was something they didn't understand. It was something that, but then when you think about comedic culture in the US, you think about a lot of people making fun of different races or making fun of their own race because that difference makes you uncomfortable. So he came in as a foreigner with comedic intent, being a foreigner. You know what I mean?
Satire. Satire that
And
nobody takes over here in the
so
West.
exactly, and it's so, and I felt like it was the best way to break through the mold was to do that, especially in a country like the US at the time that he did it.
For sure.
So like it's kind of like it was super brilliant. I really like him. Like I've heard his other songs. I like him.
Like he's one of the
But
few
like,
people I trust in this industry to like actually like develop artists because he has his own label now.
oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Second, did I ever tell you that I tried out for SM Entertainment?
Did you really?
Yep, in
Girl,
college.
spill the tea.
So obviously, I had zero intent of joining. I went and embarrassed myself basically because I was curious. I wanted to know what it was, what it took. And
Oh
I
yeah.
believe the only people that went to the back room were really tall, handsome Koreans who could dance. They had no other talent. And there was one guy who tried. So in our group, we had like there was a bunch of us, and
Oh, you went with friends.
no, we like go in a group and audition together.
Oh, okay, you were by yourself. Okay, you went by yourself. Got it.
Yeah, and it's just like and it was like you go in, and so like my friends and so Sanka actually came with me.
Oh, it's so
And
cool. Did she audition?
yeah, no, she came with me
Okay.
just to come show support. She was like, "This is so cool! I can't believe you're doing this." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I really just want the tea. I'm not really interested in some." But then she was like, "But if you like get chosen, you gotta go." And then I was like,
Oh
"I'm
my
gonna go.
god.
I'm gonna go to the end to just see, but I'm not gonna join." So then I went, and I went in, and obviously I'm not going to get chosen. I already kind of knew that going in.
It's
I'm
the
not
racism for
of
me.
yeah, exactly. I'm not of the thing. So, but I was just like, if you can give me any tea, I'll take it. So, I was like, should I even like, and I think, and so, Sanka's like, you should at least try to sing really well. And like, cause you sing really well. And I was like, well, now you tell me that, I feel like I have to try hard. It makes me nervous. But I actually ended up going into the audition with like a fever of 103 degrees that I didn't know I had until I came home and checked my temperature. So whoever was in the group with me, if you got sick after that, I'm really sorry. I did not know. I had to like study for exams the day before. It was like been mess. So then
Oh, friend.
but then anyway, I was just like, oh yeah, and then even Sanka looked at me on the ride there and was like, are you okay? And I was like, I think so. I'm just like feeling a little weird, maybe a little cold. And she's like, you look pale. And then I was like, I'm fine, because I was the one driving too. So then I kind of like went home and dropped her off, and then I went home, and then Vishwas is like, are you okay? And then I was like, and then I checked my temperature, it was 103, and I was like, nope. And then I took some NyQuil and I just went to bed. But then oh, so anyway, you go into and so basically what happens is you go in with a group of people, and you could sing any song in a language that they allowed. So it had to be Korean, Japanese, or Chinese.
Awesome. Cool.
And I knew Japanese, so I decided to give it a try. So then, because they're trying to take over Asia or whatever, right? So then I go in, and then like we all have our own bit. You have to introduce yourself to the camera and then sing. And so that's what I did. And then the lady behind the camera really liked me. I don't know what I did for her to like me. I don't think I sang well. I couldn't hear myself because of being sick. Like my ears were stuffed.
Oh.
So then I only started getting stuffy ears right before I went into the room. So then I figured out maybe I'm not well. So then I couldn't hear myself. I couldn't hear anybody around me. There was one guy who tried to audition, and he did a scene from
Oh, he acted.
Yeah. So
Cool.
he showed that his talent was acting, and he did a scene from shit. Um The Shining.
Oh my god,
It was really crazy. He was really good. I
that's
was like, "Oh
awesome.
my god, he's so cool."
I wonder how he's doing.
Yeah, and the girl before me had like a very sweet voice, so I remember her. She's
Oh,
like very cutesy. And then like even after I was done singing, she like clapped. She was so sweet. And she's like, "Am I not allowed to clap?" I'm like, "I have no idea." So we just kind of stayed still. I was like, "Thank you though."
that's
I was
so
like, "You were
sweet.
good too." And so like then
Love
but at the
that.
end of all of your individual auditions, they ask you to dance at the end.
Oh boy.
And nobody could dance in the group. So we all
Oh
left. So like,
no.
but we all like did stupid shit, and then the actor guy went in the middle and did like a breakdance move, and then he's like, "Oh, I think I hurt my shoulder," and we like all laughed. We were just like having fun with it. We were like none of us could dance, and so they all wanted like showmen. You know what I mean?
Sure, of course. Who's
So
someone could
and
follow
like
choreography?
it's
Sure.
like you had to be really pretty, or you had to be a good dancer. I think that was the only requirements that they needed, but
Sure.
they go through the audition anyway. And you could tell by the end we all left and we all talked to each other like, "Oh, we're gonna call you later." And we all kind of knew that was BS. But then like we
But it's a
walked out,
courtesy. Yeah.
and yeah, and then she was like, and then like she kind of like looked at me like the first girl. She was like, "What's the point of all this if they're just looking for dancers?" And then I was like, "I think they're looking for Hollywood faces too." And then she started laughing. She's like, "I think I need plastic surgery."
No. Oh
And then
no.
I laughed. I was like, "No, you don't. You don't need that." And then she started laughing. I was like,
Hey,
You
hey,
don't need
quick
it."
sidebar. If you want that and you can get it, by all means, we're
Yeah. No, no, no,
do
no.
do
I'm not
what you
against.
want.
I'm
Follow
not.
yeah, follow your bliss. Me and
Yeah.
V are all for that. Just for the record, but it's just
Yeah.
like it's it's just like knowing what I know in regards to that is like,
But
you
like,
know what
can
I'm
you
saying?
think
Because
of
they're just
like
like,
one girl group or one guy group that doesn't all look the same? Like, I feel like it's like, I mean it in the sense of the surgeries that they get. Like, they all have to look a specific doll type. Of course, they all look different. They're different people, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like every feature, the same features on each guy or each girl is sharp. You know what I
um,
mean? Like, I feel
it's
like it's hard to find a uniqueness in that, but that's one of the reasons that I liked 21 was because each one was unique in the way they debuted in the group. They
oh,
all looked
shout out to
different.
the Queen Park Bomb, yo. I think Park Bomb was my favorite member of 2NE1. And like I
Yeah.
appreciated that Minzy was our age, like a
Yeah.
millennial.
Yeah.
I respected Dara because I think Dara was the last idol to stay with YG before I think like her contract expired.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for CL in the regard that like the proper time for her to pop off here in the States passed
Patch.
so quick. And like
Yeah.
it's not like she was hurting for dough. Like
Oh yeah,
she's an
no.
international sensation. But I'm like, I really wish, dang, if there was anybody who could have like popped off over here as like a solo person, it was gonna be
Mm.
CEO. And like her getting like the feature with Skrillex and G Dragon on Dirty Vibe. I'm like, this is gonna be something,
Yeah,
and it
I'm
never was, and I'm
surprised.
annoyed.
I feel like there are other artists that should break through here. In my opinion. I don't think she I mean, I think she has talent. I think she looks great, does great, dances great, performs great, raps great.
Everything's
But
great, but
I
like
think but
the one record.
I think it's like just I have very heavy opinions on K-pop. And I think it's just anyway, that was my tea. That's all the tea that I got. You ended up finding out that it was all for nothing, and it's like if you couldn't dance, then they kicked you out, or if you didn't look
And I
pretty,
understand, and
they didn't pick. So
sincerely,
like
I
if you're
already
pretty and you can't dance, they still pick you.
and like and cool. I get it because like there's the modeling and there's the acting. I get it, but dad gum, it's like
Yeah, or like I
let
had no chance.
if
I just was
anything.
like curious, and I had to go. I had to go and see it.
Fine. My thing is like, man, like, don't lie to folks. It's like, oh,
Yeah, I was like a big
I'm
waste
here
of
for the
time.
singing and the dancing. Oh, but we'd love to get you in for some modeling. Like,
Yeah,
be straight up with people.
yeah,
Communicate with them is
yeah,
my whole thing in
yeah.
regards to that
It's a waste of
specific,
time.
like, in regards to that thing, anyhow. I'm still like, it's cool to know that someone that I know and care about got a chance to possibly be an idol. That's so
Yeah.
sick.
But
You
you know
know,
me, I don't like idols. I shouldn't say
we're
that.
gonna cap it right
Yes.
there. We'll save the actual review for next time because now like
Okay.
people have something to look forward to.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
and
like, and like I said, it's not that there aren't Korean artists that I don't like. There are plenty of Korean artists that I like. It's just when it comes to certain things, and like, I think you'll be surprised on what I have to say about G. Actually, after hearing me poo poo everything, like, I think everyone will be surprised to hear what I actually have to say about the song.
I'll say this as someone who is very passionate about like music from Japan, which you brought to the playlist and to
Hmm.
this conversation. Um, I feel that in regards to K-pop, I
Hmm.
feel as if my passion for that specific subgenre has poisoned the opportunity to really get into every other genre that's there, like
Yeah.
the traditional stuff, like the folk stuff or
Hmm.
trot, and
Um.
like all the K indie and like the actual hip hop that's not like associated to like bigger companies and things of that
Yeah.
nature. That's not
Yeah.
like like just like folks that like get like positioned on Show Me the Money and things like that. I
Yeah.
feel as though like K-pop takes up all the space and people in a Westerner's mind of like the music over there. And
Yeah.
I wish that was not the case. I feel that in regards to like music that's international, that
Yeah.
like I wish that there needs to this is like be like a sublet of like, oh, if you're here for like jazz or our Broadway scene or
Yeah.
just for like I don't know like for like the grindcore or hardcore here in Korea, like because I know like the geeks, but like I can't find them on streaming, so it's like damn, when am I gonna find out when they come to the States? Big example of this. One of my favorite Japanese bands, Otoboke Beaver. Like love the name of the
Yeah.
band, by the way. So
Yeah.
cool. Like their music is so neat. Like they wear these like very bright, colorful dresses and like they play
Yeah.
fast as hell. Really punk
Yeah.
rock shit. And
Yeah.
they were gonna play here at Johnny Brenda's. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll pick up my ticket later. I don't think that shit's gonna sell out. Sells out like that. And like
Yeah.
heaven knows I'm gonna come back to the States. And like
Yeah.
I had the opportunity but I didn't understand the urgency. And I'm glad that the show sold out. It's a small venue anyway. I'm glad that it sold
Yeah.
out. I hope they come back. I hope they have a great experience here in this city to come back and play for us because like the folks who love rock and roll out here and all that other subgenres of rock and roll, there's a very healthy scene here. I want to be
Yeah.
in the mix because like I don't really
Yeah.
have a lot of I have maybe like two friends who are in the mix here, but just like we go to shows, but we don't like interact with the community per se. And in the
Yeah.
same way, like we have like there's like this punk rock band from Korea, Drinking Boys and Girls Choir, and I'm like, oh, this is and they're on the same label as Otoboke, so like it's oh
Yeah.
great. Here's a label that's like has a very like this like prominent staple of
Yeah.
Eastern rock acts, but
Yeah.
like you really have to go digging, and
Yeah.
that's fun. It's fun to like discover and like explore, but goddamn, the average Joe or Jane doesn't have that like kind of patience. I don't want to make
Yeah.
the assumption that like I don't know, like my coworker Steven is gonna want to spend half an hour looking for that one act from like freaking I don't know Egypt
Yeah.
that that makes like two-tone ska. You know,
Yeah.
like it needs to be a little bit easier, and I'm hoping that by doing this with you and other people who are as obsessed, like the
Yeah.
gap gets bridged because there's so much ground to cover and so
Yeah.
much music to listen to
Yeah.
and rant.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I just wanted to say quickly that there's one K-pop band that I wish broke the mold, but I think it's because
Who?
they didn't do the same K-pop music that everybody does, so they weren't able to break them. But they did. I saw them in Washington D.C. because my friend wanted to go see them. BAP, and
You are
so
gonna tell me that BAP wasn't just like I'll say this. Hold on, before you say anything further. BAP walked so BTS could run. 1000%. They only
really,
had one record for me. And I think it was Hurricane. That's a great record, but that's a great song. But like
yeah,
but to me when I think about BAP,
mm-hmm.
how they presented themselves to the world, I feel like a lot of guys at that time went one of two ways. You were trying to be Super Junior, or like you were doing like this like weird rap pop hybrid. You know,
Mhm.
it was one of
Mhm.
the two, and because like
Yeah.
every big K-pop record had that obligatory rap verse.
Yeah.
But I can't say I was a little bit disappointed when I found that they were gone, because like I liked Hurricane. I thought that was a
Yeah.
really really solid record. You know, like
Yeah.
so
But I
I
think
feel
it's
you on that.
just
I
but
do.
BIP was more unique than that. They were probably the darkest pop boy band at the time, other than their like seasonal
Vix.
records. And was Vix
Oh yes,
was
with that
Vix
with their
dark? Oh wait,
yes
were
their
they a boy band?
yeah their first comeback was like I'm pretty sure the first comeback got banned. Wait, no, the first one was when they're still like doing that. Like it was wow, I'm looking it up right now because like
Yeah, I have zero idea.
Voodoo, like the Voodoo music video got banned on TV, pretty
Voodoo
sure,
doll.
because like it had a lot of it had some mutilation and gore in it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but I
It
I
broke up too, I
didn't know
think. So
Vix. Yeah, I didn't know Vix to kind of be that way for their whole career, though.
at least I would say that for at least like for three comebacks, pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah, because
Error,
like,
like
well, maybe it.
Jekyll,
Well, it could be that they were trying to go head to head with
they straddled the
BAP with
line.
darker stuff because I mean, like
I
BAP
think it's
was
two separate
big for
time.
what they did.
I think it's two separate time periods too.
Oh, are they?
I don't think they're ever like I don't think they're ever in like in contention with one another. To
Oh
be honest with you,
no, they're like friggin' oh
2014 to 2017, maybe.
oh, it was 2012 to present.
Ah, that's right. There are four. There still have four members left. The fifth person went solo, actually, because I think he wanted to pursue rap, which is, and his name was Ravi, and I'm like, is this Brother Brown or is this just his name? I felt some type of way about that. Not
I
even gonna
mean,
front.
like I went to Starbucks a couple of years ago when BTS just started to break the mold in the
What over
US.
here in the West?
Yeah, and I went to Starbucks and I ordered my coffee, and then they're like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, V. And then I'm like, V as in
V
Victor.
V
And then she
exactly.
like
Yeah.
freaked out. And she's like, "You have the same name as V." And I'm like, "Everyone uses V." And then she was like, "Oh, from BTS." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "The only BTS song that I know is their debut single in Korea. So I don't know what they're doing now." I'm like, "Oh,
Remember
so
the
are they
first one they
big
dropped
here?"
all that
And
time,
this is,
and
yeah, but this is just, I had no idea. So then I was just like, "Oh yeah, so they're like big here now." And she's like, "Oh my god, you're like an OG fan." I'm like, "Wait, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I don't know them, but I do know that single." And she was like, and she was Korean herself, so she knew like their Korean albums before they broke into the West. And she was like, "Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited." And I was like, "Oh well, I'm glad. I'm glad." She's like, "Well, you made my day." And I'm like, "Thank you, you made my day." So it was like a cute
See,
conversation, but it was just like I didn't.
but you proved my point, because definitely before like they moved to a more like pop sound, like things like War of Hormone and things in that vein were very BAP esque. You know what I'm saying? This was like with the harsher
Oh,
like
I
rap
completely
pop
forgot why I
stuff.
mentioned them. Okay, yeah. So the reason I mentioned them was because I liked the main guy before he entered BAP. He was an underground rapper.
That thing.
And so when I found out he was entering, my friend was like, "Hey, remember the guy who did the diss track to G Dragon and he made fun of him for like stealing the
That's
song or whatever?" And I
hilarious.
was like, "Oh yeah, I remember him." She's like, "Yeah, he's in a pop group now." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, but it's
Gotta
a
pay
really
that
good group."
rent, baby.
But I mean, like he his solo stuff now is, and like I feel like now that he has the fans to listen to his solo stuff, I mean, it is beautiful. Like, I mean, it is so beautiful. Like, I have to send you on Spotify's first album. I actually bought the album because it was so beautiful. I actually went out of my way to find it online to get
Again, with
it.
that, just like any cost, like if it's
Yeah,
worthwhile.
I was just like, it was so worthwhile. And like, he hasn't come out with like an album. He's come out with like some singles, I feel like, or I mean, honestly, it's been a while since I've looked him up, but like, that's what I mean. It's kind of like, it depends on the scene. Like, a lot of people, it's because you're right. K pop, at least from our perspective, K pop just takes up so much of the space. That's hard to find those artists. Like, so now if I go back to look for those songs that he wrote as an underground artist, it's just like I can't even
Gotta do a lot of
remember the
digging.
titles of them
Gotta do a lot of
to
digging.
even look for them. And so like I don't
Hopefully, you
know if
saved
I'm
it
even find it or
someplace.
not. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
for a little inside baseball, our live count is at 2 hours, but it's
Okay.
10:30. I think we can squeeze in one more, and
Okay.
we'll call it.
Okay.
We just did we had a long conversation about Despair's Ray. Let's
Yeah.
do, I think I want to save Take It In and G for our next stream. Let's just talk about
Okay.
Cousins real quick by Vampire
Okay.
Weekend. Um can we talk about Ezra from Vampire Weekend? What a glow up he had. Not only was his
No
band
idea.
very successful, like not only did Rostrum from Vampire Weekend go off to have a very successful production and solo career, Ezra
Hmm.
went from popular frontman for indie rock band to like creator of an anime starring Jaden Smith to
Oh
marrying
wow.
Rashida Jones. And to top it all off, has a co-write on a Beyonce song.
Wow.
You know that story, right?
I don't know the Beyonce story.
I
No.
tell it because it's so much fun to tell. So Beyonce puts out Lemonade,
Uh
and
huh.
one of the songs is Hold Up. Hold Up is born from Ezra from Vampire Weekend, Diplo, the Yeah
Mm.
Yeah Yeahs, um,
There's so many people on the song.
who else wrote for that song? Father John Misty. And
Wow.
so Diplo was like, yo, Ezra, I'm writing this song. I sampled this old school like 60s record. Take a look. And Ezra's like, oh, cool. I'm gonna write some lyrics to this. And earlier he had tweeted like hold up, they don't love you like I love you.
Yeah.
Which was a reference to Ye's Maps, where the song's like, wait, they don't love you like I love you. And so like he tweets that out. Here's like the Diplo beat. And he's like, here's what I got. And
Hmm.
Diplo's like, sweet, I'm gonna give it back to the artist. Yo, man, who's the artist? Beyonce. Oh, what? That's so crazy. And so Beyonce hears what Ezra and Diplo wrote. He's like, this is great. Let's I need someone, get someone else to write on this because I like where this is going. And so Father John Misty was like, hey, want to write for a Beyonce song? He's like, hell yeah. And so he writes some stuff. He's like, I don't think she'll use that, but I'll send it off. Who knows what's going to happen? Goes
Right.
to play a gig, plays the gig. And then
Yeah.
I'm maybe getting all the details like I'm like, fuzzy, but apparently he finishes the gig. Beyonce is there like, nice show. I'm using the lyrics. Congratulations. Disappears. And he's just like, what? And so
Wow.
if you like go to the song
Wow.
credits, you'll see Ezra
Ezra
K from Empire Weekend, Father John Misty, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
For sure. For sure.
So like the guy's had a very awesome career. Got like a Danny Brown remix
Wow.
on like the third album for Modern Vampires of the City. Like
Yeah.
cool freaking guy, like
Yeah.
B.O.B. and Janelle Monáe cover one of their songs for like his like debut album. This band did a lot of neat, cool stuff. They got
Yeah.
accused of like cultural appropriation when the first album came out. They did a lot. A lot happened.
Wow. I don't remember that, but
I do. Oh, I do.
gotcha.
So, Cousins, this is a fun song. I got it for free
Yeah.
on iTunes. Like the video
Very
was for
nice.
free. I had never heard of this band before. I think one of the kids in
Oh.
my neighborhood was like, I listened to this band called Vampire Weekend. And I was being a little shit because I'm like, oh, Twilight is for lamos. You like stuff with vampires? You are lame, sir. And I hear the song and I'm like, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. And so like you have like this very frantic, upbeat indie rock song. The video is like in this alley and they're like he's on like the dude's on a conveyor belt going
Mm-hmm.
backwards and forwards and there's confetti and bells and a lot of hey ooh ah and just it almost feels like a ska punk song. And
Yeah.
like I listen to this song every day because I had like the free download. And
Yeah.
like Ezra's talking about like the people in this person's family, including you, a little 2006 little list maker. And I'm like, wow, I am that guy. Like now all I do is just like make these things
These
for like
playlists.
myself and my
Yeah.
friends because I'm like, there are those moments where it's like, oh my God, I have so much music that I enjoy. What do I pick now for this moment? Just like close your eyes, spin like the dial, pick one playlist and just hit play, because if you like aren't like if you haven't moved on or if you're not embarrassed by what you like, you'll enjoy it. And you may rediscover like, oh my God, I did love this song at one point or another. I wonder how that person's doing. And da 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 da. So when you hear Cousins by Vampire Weekend, what's happening in your head? What's your history with this band?
Well, it's so funny because I can't remember my
Thank
first
you.
song with them because uh and the fact that you told that story, it's funny because I heard Vampire Weekend for the first time at the same time.
In
Because
2010.
yep, because
Whoa.
one of my dorm mates mentioned that she liked Vampire Weekend. I'm like, what the hell is that? Is that a new anime? And then she was like, no, it's a band. And so I heard them with her on her computer. So I was like, oh wow, they're really good. I can't remember the name of the song though, but it's so funny that you found them at the same time that I found them. We were just in two different places at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's really cool. That's really cool. So like when I saw Vampire Weekend on your list, I thought it was so fitting because I heard them when I was in Japan by my dorm mate or from my dorm
Dude.
mate. And it's so crazy. So when I saw that, I smiled. I thought it would be an interesting story to tell. But
That's so sweet.
yeah, and she was like, oh, no, it's a band. I really like them. And then so we listened to them together in her room. And and then I was just like, oh, these guys are really good. I like them. And then she's like, yeah, they're awesome. I can't wait to see them when I go back home. And I was just like, because she's like planning to go to one of their concerts or something. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool. So yeah, I just found it really interesting. So like when I heard them again, so it's like it's not hard for me to forget their sound, but it was I don't know if I had heard Cousins or not because it's just like one of
Mm-hmm.
those bands that I kind of went in passing. I heard their stuff and then I just kind of left it. So when I like heard the guitar start up at the beginning of the song, I was like, oh, it's like nice memories. So I like really, really loved that. Yeah. So when I saw it on the list, actually, I smiled when I saw it as the first song.
Spectacular. I want
Yeah.
to tell one last little story, and then we'll start our closing remarks.
Yeah.
I
No worries.
mentioned that one of the members of the band Rostrum leaves to become a solo artist, and
Hmm.
one of the artists he ends up producing for is Charlie XEX,
Oh
and
wow.
she's a really big deal now, and like it's so bizarre knowing like where we got to know her first as just like the feature artist for Iggy Azalea, and then it's like becomes an icon of her own over in the UK,
Yeah.
and like Rostrum and Charlie do a song for the third Hunger Games movie,
Hmm.
and the soundtrack was executive produced by Lorde. And like I'm
Yeah.
very envious of her because she basically got to call whoever she wanted and say, "Will you do a song for this movie?"
Wow.
Like I'm footing the bill. I get to pick whoever I want, and so many great people collabed because I think of Lorde's like just like we should get these folks in the studio together. You got the Chemical Brothers, you got Miguel, Ariana Grande,
Wow.
Major Lazer, Grace Jones, Stromae, Pusha T, Q-Tip, Haim, just mega stars.
Wow.
And so, like, agreed,
Making
agreed,
poster
agreed, agreed.
guy. I was wait. Hold on. Let me read.
Sorry.
As I was seeing as black and white too. That was possible. It's good.
And so, Rasham and Charlie do this song, and even gets like a vocal feature from like the lead singer of like Duran Duran. And like I think it's called Kingdom, and I don't know if it's still on the soundtrack on streaming, but like if you have the CD, it's there. Beautiful song. And so like Charlie has stands because she's that big now, and they bring up how she did this song, and she gets online and she's like, "Yo, yeah, I did that song, but I'd never seen the movie. Is it any good?" And everyone's just like, "You've never seen the Hunger Games?" And she's like, I'm busy as hell doing my career.
I
What do you
know.
mean?" And so like later she's like, "Hey, I saw that movie. It was pretty good." And it's just like, what a class
It's
act.
so
Super
funny.
funny.
It's so funny. Kind of like the same
Okay.
way.
Hey, well,
I like
listen,
really
like
busy, so I don't have time to like listen to or do anything or see anything new. So it's like,
so many of us are like groundhogs. It's like you come outside and it's like, it's a pandemic outside. What do you mean?
I know exactly. Ugh.
So, folks, there you have it. I don't know when in November we'll find a time to get back together, but like like we'll make the time because this is significant. It's important. We just talked for 2 hours
No.
just for like the love of one another and the music. So
Yeah.
like, imagine what we'll do next time. We still have yet to talk about one. Take It In by Hot Chip, G by Girls' Generation.
Hmm.
That record by Calafina that I'm not going to mispronounce.
Okay.
Free. What was it again? The English translation. What was it called?
Oh God, have to translate this again. It's like
Ageaku Sorano Shidimani wa?
Yeah, it's like in the silence of the shining sky.
Beautiful. I'm not gonna front. That's hard. Like, can you imagine like a band like we are
Yeah.
in the silence of the shining sky? Open this pit up. That'd be fucking sick.
I know. But it's a beautiful song. It's like
It
another ballad that you
is.
mentioned. So yeah.
It's spectacular. We also have Frisia by Mook and More Deep by Born. So you have all that to look forward to next time when you hang out with us in early November.
Yeah.
Again, folks, if you go into the description, you'll find the hyperlink to V's website. If you love fashion, if you love fine art, if you love music, that's the website for you. You should favorite it in your internet browser. You should follow V on Twitter. You can find V at X settle X smile X. And give her a follow, retweet, like some posts. I want to
Yes,
get V up
please.
to 100 followers on there, so that'll be very kind.
Yeah, I just restarted my Twitter, so I lost all my followers. I have to get them back.
Help V get all her like mutuals back from years back. You can find V on Twitch, on YouTube. Like, she's out here getting to the bag. Like, help a local businesswoman. Shout out to the DMV area. Shout out to Baltimore.
Yes.
Shout out to everyone who came to the stream today. Shout out to Precious Renee Tucker from the How Are You Really Feeling podcast, from For the Punks. Shout out to Arkintel, aka The Living Abstraction, who did that very cool shout out to Mr. Hari.
Oh,
what we were talking about earlier before the stream started.
Yeah, I have to watch that.
I had never seen. I'm not gonna front. I haven't seen it. I just saw the trailer, so this is
bad.
Oh,
gotcha. Yeah, I'll watch the documentary and see what my opinion is.
It's me. I do this all the time. Like, you can also find me on TikTok, Twitter, Tumblr. Say hi. I'm leaving TikTok for a month in November, so like, keep my mind occupied while like just like suffer from the lack of content entering my brain.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok, by the way, so
maybe you're better off, honestly.
Yeah.
As always, like to close the stream with a few like remarks, calls to action, like, comment, subscribe, I guess, if you were into that kind of thing. Make sure you're staying hydrated. You're having some H2O. But bam. Make sure that when you leave your home, please wear some form of face protection. Like I mentioned in the last stream I did with Arkintel, if you wear a cloth mask, it's basically useless now. Wear one in combination to a medical. If you're gonna wear a medical, wear two. And if you can afford like those fancy KN95s, get a big box, baby. You know what I'm saying? You can follow like Project KN95 on Twitter. Maybe they'll send you some for free. Like, this thing ain't over until this shit is non-lethal. And that's a non-scientist, non-medical person saying it. There's lots of information out there to learn. Like, don't believe the hype. It's still very scary out here. Imagine if you were immunocompromised walking out into the world right now. A lot of dangerous stuff going on out there. Please. See? Right there. Right there. Be mindful to people like V out there. I don't like getting sick. Do you like getting sick? No, of course not. Cover your nose. Put it sure it's under the chin. None of this stuff. None of that. Like, none of that. None of this. Come on. Please. It'll be super nice. Just, it's good to be polite. You know, like, professionalism is kind of like, but like common courtesy, it never goes out of style, dog. Never goes out of style.
I agree.
So, last three: Black Lives Matter, Queer Lives Matter, protect indigenous communities. When you I don't know, like, go to the bathroom later today and like look yourself in the mirror as you're washing your hands, look yourself dead in the eye, like dead in the eyeball, and be like, hey, I love you. Who yourself. Tell yourself that you love yourself. You know
I find that that's actually extremely important. Tell yourself that you love yourself every day and treat yourself with the same respect that you expect from other people, and then they'll give it to you.
Live with yourself, man. Like, your body brought you through these really scary times, and you're still with us today, and we're thankful that you're with us today. Like, V and I were having a conversation about how, like, in the Hindu faith, like, everyone has a path to walk, and that's regardless of what you claim to believe in. So, like, dog, if you're still out here, like, you should try and fight like hell to do what you want to do in this world, because I can't wait to see it. So I think we'll leave it at that. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Damn, that was great. I loved
Hell
it,
yeah.
and I'm excited for part 2 because I have so much to say, not just about a lot of the songs, but about a lot of the culture around the songs that are left next to. So
Hell
I'm
yeah.
like
Like
super excited.
imagine imagine how much more cool stuff we'll have to talk about like 2 weeks from now. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's a wild world out there, and like I'm very thankful we get to like hold space together. V, thank you for doing this with
yeah.
me.
Same. And thank you so much. I always love talking about music with you or anything with you. It's always a fun time. So yeah. And for
Super
those of you who
super
don't know, we've been friends since
a
high school.
long time.
Yeah. And now we're old. So
We're grown. We're
that's true.
grown.
We're
Okay.
grown. All right, guys.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Godspeed.
having me.
V, please say goodbye to the people out there.
Bye.